Does he have it?
Medeiros is going to get it.
They're going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly, Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we return once more on a Saturday with a VWSC 1964 World Sports Car Championship from Coppa di Enna. I am James Barber, going to be joined in the booth by Tom Cairns here this evening, and we've got our famous bug in the hero, Mr. Paul Glover, on production here once more. What an absolute pleasure as always. Let's have a look at the calendar then. Currently at the moment, they did the Coppa Carotti hill climb last time out, which unfortunately I missed, but apparently it was an absolute riot on that one. But we are at the Coppa di Enna, as you can say, 65 laps today to deal with of this basic oval-esque with a couple of chicane in its circuit. Then we're going down to Goodwood on the 250 kilometres on the 17th of August, so that's next weekend. Then the Nürburgring on the 5th of October as we break up for the summer. Then Monza on the 26th, Bridgehampton on the 16th of November, then Provence Alps Hill Climb on the 30th, and then we finish off in Paris. Let's have a look at the circuit. 4.95 kilometres, 3.071 miles, built in 1951. Now, what I can tell you about this circuit, this is actually comes under the 71 to 75 layout, partly due to the fact that the 64 layout was just one big basic oval. And they were literally just going full flat all the way around. But to make it a little bit more challenging, we stuck them on the 71 to 75 layout, which is this one with the chicanes in. Okay, so that is what this layout will be of this circuit. The challenges for this evening, well, one of them is going to be stay cool, literally. Stay cool. It's very hot this evening and I'm sweating, and then Paul's sweating in his office as well, and it's getting very, very warm. Carry speed. They've got to make sure they can get through these tricky chicanes. Some of them are right, left, right. So it's got to be one of them things that they've got to make sure they can get through. Chicanes are everything. Well, we know that, as we've just mentioned, the chicanes that are on this race track. So let's have a look at the strategies for the D1, D2s. So it's going to be chicane momentum, D3 to gain an advantage. Watch the fuel. 15 to 20 minutes, 2 to 4 stops for this car, okay? 2 to 4s for the D1, D2s, and the cars to beat, well, they're all fairly equal this evening on that one. Let's have a look at the D3s, okay? It is 20 to 27 minutes, 1 to 3 stops. Now, that is a big variation of 1 to 3. You know, I would expect some of them probably might do a couple of stops here, but yeah, 1 to 3 is a big variation. I'd probably aim in the middle. Cars itself, again, all fairly equal. Now let's have a look at the scores on the doors at this moment in time here as well. Let's pick up on the Div 3 standings. It is JT Tammy out in front, currently leading the way on 39.42.4. I'm really not sure what that is. Bradley Sellers in second on 36.4. We'll just go with that. Nicholas Kirstens on 30.7. Magnus Dahlgren on 30.1. Then you've got Ethan Funk, Wouter de Bruin, Timon Sievert, Ross Smith, Alexander Schultz, Tom Lane, Mike Bell, Jason Whitehead, Brian Hall, Carl Vesser. Emmy Racing in the Ferrari are out in front at the moment with Smile Power Racing in second, and then Rookie Monsters in third. Moving on from that one, let's have a look at the Div 3 AMs. It's Jerry Chen out in front on 64.8 with George Angelidis on 42.2. Then we've got Barry DeMarzo on 17.6, John Mayer on 12.9, and Dave Cause on 12. Then Jason White, Jarosik Zakic, Peter Meyer, and Tom Mountjoy. Flying Kiwi Racing out in front with Scudiera Cavelli in second place. Moving on from them, we've got the Div 1, Div 2s. Elkel Busanic is in first place with Dan Herlock in second, not too far apart. Beck Ely in third, then Rhys Gardner, Ben Borman. Ben coming out off his Coppa Karate Hill Climb victory. Cameron Barker, Dan Kirby, David Jun, Eduardo Benica, and Oliver Day. Sen Stoffer Mel, Alexander Shorokov in 12th. Darren Andrews, Gilles Lalonde, and Tony Nicoffin rounding out the top 15. And as you can see on the right hand side, there's a few more names there for you as well. In the teams, Joy Motorsport out in front with Fatigo Monsters second, Mike Bell Motorsport third, CMS Pros in fourth, Alpha Australia's Hal Victus in fifth, Mistral, Lufthansa, Black Knight Racing, Gasso Links, and Cure Beer Racing round out the top 10. On to the next one. Well, it's the Div 1, Div 2 AMs. We've got Eric Monet out in front by 5 points over Adam Gray with Michael Locke in third, James Bowders fourth, Santiago Downcourt in fifth with Tom Mountjoy, Fernando Ferreira, Luke Goodlow, Philip Marazzi, David Bakker, Celadron, Pavel Chernoborov, Mateus Bogle, Stephen Miller. Then you've got Mistral Tiger Porsche in the teams with Reptile Racing Porsche in second. Whew. That was quite a long list, but I think you can safely say there's a lot of drivers in this series. Evening Phil in YouTube chat. Let us know, guys, if you are here as well. Say hi. We will talk to you along the way as this evening's racing goes on. But you've listened to me waffle long enough. Let's bring Tom into the booth here as well. Tom, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Hello, James. Hello to everyone. Here we are in Italy for the latest round of this VWSC Historic Championship across different classes. Of course, it's a very historical series, hence why it's called Historic, with plenty of classic cars to go racing against each other around this Pergusa circuit in Enna. Some may recognise it to some degree when International Formula 3000 went to in the 1990s, but it's a different configuration to what was being used back then. We're using the ones with the 2 chicanes, just to add a little bit of spice. I think there's actually 3 chicanes thinking about it, or 4, however you want to. Yeah. But either way, we should be in for some top quality racing during the course of the next couple of hours.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, it's a 71 to 75 layout. The 1970s layout has got 1 chicane. The 51 to 69 hasn't got any. So it makes it one big, massive oval. But this is the kind of along the lines of the 71 to 75 with the right left and the left right chicane at the end, and also in the middle of the race, in the middle of the racetrack as well. It's been a very interesting series, Tom. I won't ask you too much because obviously it's your first time here joining us along for this one as well. And I'm looking forward to seeing how these cars do. Now, when you're running at full speed, it's going to be very, very difficult. We know this week has been a bit up and down for some of the guys in practice. We know there's been a few issues, and the track updates have been coming out regularly because some have been causing issues. But I think overall, is this circuit really that difficult?
Well, it depends who you ask. I from what I can see, judging by the layouts, it looks fine. But what's more important is the drivers getting a handle of the cars that they are going through. I mean, it may look easy on paper, but when you're actually having to execute through these chicanes around the lap, it's actually a different kettle of fish. As you can just see, some cars are coming out of the garages now. So we are looking to see how they get on during the course of this session that is coming up.
Yeah, they're just literally sitting there trying to find the grid spots at the moment as well, because we know they do end up sharing grid spots. Once again, we've only got 27 cars out on the circuit, and I say that as only, as you've seen the amount of people registered for this one as well. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they go. It's going to be a full kind of running on this racetrack, and I think it's going to be very, very interesting. Now, Tony, you've had a quick look at some of these cars, dear sir. If we gave you an unlimited amount of money, which one would you go out and buy?
Oh, that's a really out of the cars that are racing, or just
No, the cars that are racing on the circuit.
Well, it's a very good question. I mean, I've always liked a Porsche, so probably one of those sort of classic Porsches. The Porsche 904 GTS would be something I wouldn't complain about. It's my type of vehicle anyway. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those you see on Top Gear every now and again, because every time the presenters are given a certain amount of money on a budget for a classic car, I think a Porsche is the kind of vehicle they would go for. So that would be what I would tend to do.
No. I'm going to sit there and declare that the Corvette C2 Stingray in the hands of JT Tammy is the beast that I would pick. However, I will say one thing. Out of the modern day cars as well, it's been really quite interesting for me, because my brother-in-law's gone out and bought an MX-5, a kind of new shape MX-5. Boy, oh boy. They're very swift little cars, they are. So if anybody's thinking about having a midlife crisis, Paul, and going to get their own little MX-5, you can get the little two-seater new-shaped MX-5. It's a very nice little car indeed, to be fair. But I think some of the cars that we've got, to be honest, I don't think anybody would be unhappy with any of them. You know, when you're looking at the Ferrari 250, Shelby Daytona, Corvette C2, Alfa Romeo, Alpine, maybe the Lotus might be a bit of a thing. You know, the little skateboard on wheels, that might be probably a different scenario. But the Porsche 904 as well, they're all classic, iconic vehicle machines that would probably turn heads in any high street, Tom.
Yeah, but out of the Alfa Romeo, the Alpine, the Lotus, and the Porsche's got more horsepower than those. So if you were driving it along the M25, you'd probably feel like more in paradise than the other ones. But that's just what I think anyway. You know, it's a 2-litre H4 machine, or 4-litre machine, if you want to put it in those words. It is a 2-litre. My apologies for that. But yeah, of course, you know, we could see how these cars get on around a circuit like this, which hasn't been used in a very, very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. If you went down the M25 in one of these cars, I will safely say now, don't go over 70, because you probably end up being picked up by the old bill. So stay below 70, just cruise. If you want to go and open it up, I'd probably suggest going across to the Autobahn in Germany. Speed limit free, so you can go and do whatever you like and go and enjoy yourself at the same time. But yeah, again, I would probably just be a little bit careful. And let's be real, the Lotus B23, right, the hands of Ben Borman and Becky Ely's got there. Probably not an ideal car for the UK, being that it's got no top on it. You wouldn't be able to bring it out of the garage very often, to be blatantly honest with you. Probably 1 or 2 days a year. You know, by the time we get very minimal sun over here, Tom, I don't think the Lotus would be an ideal scenario.
No, I wouldn't have thought so either. I mean, it's, you know, with the fact it's a green liveried machine, it's almost difficult to see in the sunlight, actually, because it's not as distinctive as you would find the blue liveried Alpine. But it depends on what exactly is your kettle of fish, I suppose. But yeah.
Yeah, JT Tammy's C2, that would be my kettle of fish here as well. I think that would be absolutely amazing. We've got no Ross Smith to come and join us this week. Ross is off on to much of his enjoyment. He is off to a wedding. So Ross is obviously at a wedding, not his own, mind you. I will point that out now. It's not his own wedding. It is a friend's wedding. And he is off enjoying himself at a wedding. Now, we do have George Angelidis. We will see. I'm not quite sure where George is at the moment. I think he's just chilling. So maybe George might not get along and be able to join us here as well. Have you ever driven in a car like this, Tom? Have you ever dived on a sim and seen a car like this from the 1964 era?
Not to my memory. I think the closest I've been to driving a car of anything, James, is an old 2006 Renault Clio, which I went out with my dad to do a little bit of driving around. But not quite sim racing in a classic. 1960s machine.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, at the Coppa Quality, we can give you a bit rundown. In Div 1, Div 2, looked like Ben Borman took the victory with Becky Ely in second and Reese Gardner in third. Now, in Div 3s, Nicholas Kirsten with Wouter de Bruin picked up second place with Timot Sudik in third. So it looked like the very quite close times here in the Div 3 AMs. In the Div 3 AMs, Jason Whitehead. Nope. Yeah, it looks like Jason Whitehead picked up the victory as well. So fair play to some of these guys getting points on the board. A very tricky, a very tricky series, Tom, because we go to different places, like the 64 version of this circuit, or well, 71, 75, and then obviously we're off to Goodwood, the Nürburgring, Monza, Bridgehampton. The hill climber province is another one that's going to cause very difficult sort of racing. But this kind of 64 sports car racing at these circuits kind of takes away the traditional jump on a sim, drive a GT3 or a GTP and go full flat, whereas you get to experience some of the older cars, you get to experience some of the older tracks as well, different track layouts. Is that something that you would think that would be recommended to people, do you think, looking at this sort of series and these sort of tracks that people are taking part on?
I think certainly for a beginner, as you could just see a car going by there, nearly spoke over the top of my voice there. But as like I was going to say, the cars are very nimble to drive because they don't have a lot of horsepower in comparison to what you see in the modern day sports cars. But the driver skill very much comes into play really, as opposed to what equipment you actually have. Because some people have different sims to each other in terms of different mechanisms, different how their brake pedals are designed, how their accelerator pedals are designed with clutch pedals, etc. So I think irrespective of who has what, it's what they do with it and with what vehicle they are controlling at the time. And of course, it depends on the circuit they choose to go around. I mean, on a circuit like this, where there's not a lot that you have to execute compared to circuits like the Nürburgring or Bridgehampton or the hill climb, as you rightly mentioned, you know, this is probably it's an old school circuit for these drivers to get their hands on some 1960s classic car action and some proper experience to sort of get themselves up to speed. If you're just like a sort of an iRacing beginner, maybe like myself, maybe one day, this would probably be one of the cars which I would try and give it a go at before sort of throwing myself into a single seater seat or a Mazda MX-5 or a Clio or something like that.
I think it's interesting watching the guys earlier on and just watching some of the people out there at the moment. Obviously, we were looking at an overall track view here as well. The first half of this circuit from the start-finish line is just one continued right-hander. It makes it out on the track map that they've got to turn to a degree, and actually it's not entirely correct. I was sat here looking, and they haven't really got to turn as much as what the track map makes out. You can make it one complete left-hander and make your way all the way through. So, right-hander, sorry, get me left and right sorted out. But the first part of the circuit looks very circuit-based, where the next part of the circuit looks very out in the country based. But the drivers are going to be getting onto the grid very, very shortly here as well. And we'll have a look at the grid once more here. Nicholas Kirstens is on pole with Magnus Dahlgren alongside in second. Then you've got Bradley Sellers and Wouter de Bruin in third and fourth, respectively. Moving on, Timon Suvic, Johnny Gutierrez, JT Tummy, and Mike Bell wrap out the top 8. Moving on from there, in Jerry Chen and Daniel Herlock rounding out row 5. Then Elko Busanic and John Mayer in row number 6. Row 7 is Eduardo Benica and Scar Pope. Then row 8 is John Uyan and Gilles Lalonde. Then we got Oliver Day, Jason Whitehead, Adam Gray, and Fernando Ferreira. And ladies and gentlemen, we are looking like we're on a pace lap. Luca Tavanari, George Angelidis, Santiago Dancourt, and Ben Borman round out the top 24. Then you've got Reese Gardner, Robert Moling, and Eric Mornay. Now, I've just checked the starting procedures here. It does specifically say that the standing Le Mans start, no formation lap. As soon as the green flag is waved, you can all start. But am I under the impression that only some of them have actually started here and some of them are not starting? Oh, we've got someone. I just heard the beeps there as I was just waiting for final confirmation from Paul up here in the booth about what is going on there. But very interesting the way this circuit is made up. It's not a very long circuit, Tom. It doesn't take overly long for these guys to complete these 3 miles.
No, and 4.95 kilometers. I mean, you would expect something like a minute and a half for the average circuit for a Formula 1 car, depending on the nature of the circuit. But on a corner like this, on a racetrack like this, with these cars as it is with the long straights, it shouldn't take that long for them to get round these chicanes through them.
Right, give us 2 seconds. Right, okay, so we've got people out on the racetrack to clear the hay bales, apparently, where it crashes so it's clean for the race. So start would be after the first chicane. So there's a couple of people out on the racetrack going around clearing the hay bales. Now, one of the things, if you're sitting at home wondering why the hell is the hay bales being cleared, it's due to the fact that there has been an issue this week with hay bales that are basically causing people's games to crash. So what they've done, they believe that's the problem, but as you can see with George Angelidis, he's just going out trying to clear the hay bales there. Yeah, for people for the opening lap, but he went over it and didn't actually hit into it. Now, so bear with us on this one if you're wondering what is going on. Bill Hunter, no standing start today. We did on Tuesday. Well, it says on the bill that we've got a standing procedure on the list, on the sheet that I've been given. So I'm going to take it that would be basically what is going on this situation. So yeah, just give us 2 minutes while we wait for George to go and do his thing. However, it does look currently like he is beached on a hay bale. So unfortunately, it looks like there may be a little bit of an issue. We'll go back to looking just at the track, and I'll keep an eye out on what is going on here once more. I'm hoping that they will reset the start and we will be up and running here again. So we'll have to see here, Tom, as well, whether or not because at the moment we're showing George Angelidis DNF'd. We're showing him in the pit lane. There's a people out there who are so far behind. Somebody's already 1 lap down here. If they reset the start here and reset the server, are the hay bales not going to jump back into place again?
Well, I would have thought that'd be the case anyway, because I'm sure that's how the algorithm works within a sim racing game like that. But sometimes they just throw things in there for the sake of aesthetics, for the fact that it's 60 years down the line, or say 60 years down the line. It's the other way around, isn't it? But either way, if it's by all means moving them away so that no one gets stuck on those haystacks, then so be it. But yeah, you can just see there's still some. I would imagine there's some stacks around every chicane of this circuit. And the last thing you want is someone getting stuck and then causing an absolute pile up behind, and it can get all really, really farcical from there.
Yeah, well, we're going to see. I'm just trying to do some hunting and trying to find some information and keeping you eyes out on chat. Don't forget, there is the orange zone, guys, as well, that runs all the way from the start-finish line right the way down the chicane Proserpina, which is the first chicane, and then once you get out the other side on that one, obviously with the orange zone itself, as you all know, passing is permitted, but note that incidents in the orange zone are subject to heavier penalties than for the rest of the race, so they've got to be a little bit more careful than they normally would be here as well. So, yeah, we're just on a bit of a delayed start currently. We've got a couple of DNFs out at the moment as well. I'm showing Wouter de Bruin out, Timon Suvik out, Jerry Chen, Scarpoper, John Uyan. So, we're finding out what I'm trying to find out as best as I possibly can here, what is actually going in. We've got cars leaving the pit lane currently at the moment. Nicholas Kirstens and Magnus Dahlgren are lined up at the pit lane, ready to go. It says we're on lap 2. This is not going well. I can see that, JT. I'm a little bit worried about this race, considering the last time we had this, there was a mass problem and the race finished early. And now the people that are moving are not the people that are at the front of the list here. JT's still tootling on the circuit. Just bear with us, guys, while we try and find out what exactly is happening. That's Wouter de Bruin sitting in 5th place. I'm still showing a couple of people out of the race. A couple of people are in the pits. The start, they did say, would be after the first chicane, but this isn't the first chicane. George Angelidis is coming back out now. He's ahead of a few other machines. Nick Kirstens is also there. We got it's all looking a little bit chaotic at the moment, Tom.
Yeah, I think they're trying to get into the correct grid spots, aren't they? But there just appears to be some form of confusion as to who is meant to be where. So I think the drivers are just being informed of where they are meant to be. I'm sure they know which grid position they're supposed to be, given where they ended up at the end of that qualifying session. So we're just waiting on the remaining ones to head back out onto the circuit. And I think we are missing the top... Are we still missing the top runners from where these lot are at the beginning of the queue there? Because it feels like there's a few missing at the front.
There is. I'm a little bit worried about the people that are showing a lap down currently. There is a lot of people from 7th downwards. Lalonde is 2 laps down, and we haven't even gone anywhere. So we're trying to figure out what is going on very quickly here. We are doing the best that we can, guys, to find out. Yeah, George showing damage on his machine there from obviously giving the hay bales a good old bump to try and get him off the side of the circuit. So bear with us, everybody at home, if you are sat there wondering what the devil is going on. Well, Tom, I suppose the people at home are just as much in the dark as we are at the moment.
Well, they're just waiting patiently for this to get going now, aren't they? But hopefully we're not waiting too long now. The grid looks like it's full up into their rows of 3 by the looks of it, because I thought it would be rows of 2, but I could well be wrong on that.
No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong, mate. I will tell you now, you are not wrong. They are rows, there should be rows of 2. I'm wondering how this is going to start with people laps down here. Okay, Kirstens is moving as well. He's on a move with Bradley Sellers and Wouter de Bruin. I've got Eduardo Benica out as a DNF. I'm just probably going to figure out that that's not entirely true. At the same time, so George is moving how bales because people are hitting them too much, plus grid issues, plus gameplay issues. Track should have been changed, issues from day one, says Bill Hunter. Well, and at the moment, we've got people laps down and we haven't gone anywhere. We've got George being the leader, and he is still on the grid, unless they're going to lap George and go round to try and get their laps back. Because at the moment, 7th all the way down to the end are all a lap down. So we're going to rely on the fact that the likes of Jerry Chen, Nicholas Kirstens and the group in between him there, Tom, they should be technically going past George again to line up on the start, right?
Well, you would think so, wouldn't you? I mean, looking at the time that Kirsten is behind the leader, yes, because George is in the pits because of the damage he picked up from having to move the hay bales out of the way.
We saw visually on his car he had damage. It's whether or not it's damaged what's underneath his car, I think, could be the problem. But yeah, George still in the pit lane currently, so we'll keep an eye and see what goes on. As I say, I am going to presume people are going to go past George to get their laps back, because at the moment some of these are a lap down, so this could be interesting to see how this one works out. So bear with us, guys, if you are at home as well. We are just trying to work out what the situation is and what exactly is going on. They're closing George's. Okay, so we're going to get the grid now, but what are we doing about the lapped cars?
Well, haven't they already caught up to George?
Yeah, they've got to go past George. They've got to go. They've got to go. The point of it is, they've got to go past him to go back. Yeah, but what we're saying, the likes of Uyan, Suvik, Pope, Kirstens. No, Pope can stay where he is. Kirstens has got to go. Sellers has got to go. Dolger has got to go. Gutierrez has got to go. But it seems like everybody's going. So again, they're not. Okay, well, let's see what happens here when we get onto the start grid, and we will go from there, I suppose, Tom. That's pretty much the only thing we're able to do. Right, just bear with us, guys. That's literally all I can ask, is just bear with us while these issues get resolved, and we will be able to hopefully find some rhyme or reason of what is actually going on. I'm bordering on the line here that I'm not entirely sure this should have actually been happening, but also at the same time I do understand why this has been done, but it seems like it's caused somewhere along the lines quite a little bit of a problem for some of these guys here on the racetrack. I'm going to probably try and put it as diplomatic as I possibly can, because obviously at the end of the day we will find out how this is going. Right, Eduardo Benica currently is on a DNF. He's sitting in the pit lane, not really going anywhere here whatsoever for Eduardo. He's just sat chilling out. Kirstens is there as well. So yeah, this is getting very, very interesting. Especially Benica was on pole position, Tom. How is he going to feel about now sitting in the pits and losing his pole position?
Well, he's going to be gut-wrenched, isn't he? After doing so well in qualifying, but it's just whether he can make up for that in the race. You know, there's a lot of laps to get through, and yeah, he's going to find himself a bit all to do to get back through the field. But obviously, he's got a number of cars which he's having to get through because they're all in different classes to each other. So at least he's got some overtaking practice he can get on with. But in the grand scheme of things, in his own class, it's a bitter pill to swallow. It has to be said.
I agree. I have got the most jumbled timing tower currently I've ever seen in my entire life here, which is very, very bizarre. Very, very bizarre. Let's see what goes on. As I think the guys are coming on to the start line. I'm going to presume Nick Kirstens is going to go. DNF for Benica. He's DNF'd and out, I'm going to presume. Nick Kirstens is there. Magnus Dahlgren, Sellers, Suvik, De Bruin, Gutierrez, Tammy and Bell are going to be lining up now. They did say it would be after the first chicane, which is this one, the right, left, right, the chicane Proserpina. And there's the left-hand side of that. It looks like there's damage on the back of Kirsten's car already, which is really quite bizarre and freaky. And now we're going to be rolling, ready to go. I'm going to presume, on the presumption that we can't be racing. They're going nowhere near fast enough here to even remotely be racing. These guys have got a lot of oomph in the car, and at the moment I can tell you they're only going second gear at 84 kilometers. So maybe they're on a pace lap, Tom?
Yeah, but it looks like they're in the right order as well. So it should be at the end of this lap when we start to go racing here.
Yeah, just missing Eduardo Benica off pole position. So yeah, let's see. Right, we are up and running and moving at full pace here. Bradley Sellers, Magnus Dahlgren, Nick Kirstens out in front currently as well. Dahlgren and Sellers are side by side coming into the right, left, right chicane. This is on the back side of the circuit. This is chicane Sagaria, I believe this is, before they go into the stadium section once more. Over the line they go, and ladies and gentlemen, finally on lap 2 of 20 of lap, well, we're on lap 3 of 66 at the moment. We are up and running. Nick Kirstens out in front. There's a lot of people spread across this circuit here, Nick. I think some of them have completely, they've completely missed the start.
Yeah, it looks like they've gone to sleep almost, or they've got confused as to when the start was actually happening. So it's actually a huge gap between some groups of cars to the others. But I'm sure it'll all balance out as the race goes on.
Yeah, there was 3 wide back earlier on your camera. Nick Kirstens goes over the gravel. He hits a little bit of a hay bale, does manage to keep it going there as well. As I said, it's gone off again as Nick Kirstens just straight through the chicane there, the first chicane of chicane Proserpina, and then they're going to run down into Schumacher's chicane here as well. Under pressure in the background is Kirstens from De Bruin. De Bruin's putting him under. There you go, the little jink of the Schumacher chicane. Now they're going to be going right the way round. Cover 1 here, the wrong right-hander into chicane Zagaria as well. Most people have got off the line well at the moment here, Tom, and just doing a great job in general.
Yeah, well, apart from Kirsten missing the chicane and taking a hay bale with him, it seems to be a relatively clean start between everyone there. You can just see the power sliding their way through these chicanes. We just see Kirsten going through the car behind him. Nearly dropped it. Yeah, it was De Bruin who very nearly dropped it in his Shelby Daytona. He was able to collect it all up and carry on as he's doing. So Dahlgren leads the way by over a second from Sellers, with Kirsten in third place after missing the chicane on the opening lap. De Bruin fourth, and it's Suvik, Gutierrez, Bell and Tammy rounding out the top 2:58 in the Div 3 class. In the Div 3 AM class, it's Jerry Chen leading that way in his Ferrari 250 GTO. And then it's Dan Herlock in his Alfa Romeo Giulia TZ who's leading the Div 1 and 2 category.
Yeah, Luca Tavanari's just been into the pits and back out on the circuit again. We're at the Bruin here. This is going to be a replay currently. This is of the start. This is when they were 3 and 4 wide. This was Eric Monet. He's going to get a nudge on the outside. There you go. And unfortunately for Eric Monet just spins up there. It looked like the car in front broke a little bit earlier for Monet and just caught him off a line and out of sorts on that one there. But as these guys continue to race, there is still Bradley Sellers, Magnus Dahlgren. The gap's closing up front at the moment. Sellers here, tucked up behind Dahlgren once more. Draft, Tom, we're going to have it. How effective do we think it's going to be at this circuit?
I mean, I don't want to think about draft too soon just yet. I think what these want to be focusing on is just get a good handle of these cars under heavy fuel loads and just settle into the race as opposed to just trying to find the draft off the driver ahead. Dahlgren has gone over the line now. It's a 137.9, but not as quick as Sellers with a 137.8. So Sellers is beginning to come into his stride now and going after Dahlgren.
Yeah, that was on their last lap times, of course, 1:37.958, and then Sellers a little bit quicker by about a tenth and a half on that one. So Bradley Sellers is closing out. You can see everybody else within the classes currently. They're all a little bit more spread out. Jerry Chen still leaving the Div 3 AMS by 6 seconds. Div 122 is Herlock. Div 12 AMS is Gray. And he's got 30 seconds over Ferrari here with Monet and Dancourt pushing up behind him. But you can still see Magnus Dahlgren, Bradley Sellers on your screen at this moment in time. And these guys are doing an absolutely tremendous job keeping their cars out in front. No major dramas at all for these two. And they're chased down by Nick Kirstens as Clearwater De Bruin behind and trying to catch up nicely once again. This is the closest battle on track apart from Luca Tavanari and Gilles Lalonde. They've just swapped places down in 23rd and 24th place. They're also very close together on the race circuit, but it is the Magnus Dahlgren Bradley Sellers battle. Yeah, Tavanari and Lalonde are very close. As I say, that's a battle down for 23rd and 24th place. We'll see if we can bring that. Yeah, with Tavanari going into the pit lane has led to that as well here. Tom, you've got a long race. You've got 65 laps here, mate. How are you sort of going about dealing with these cars? Are you just going to sort of sit, chill and gain where you can? Because at the end of the day, surely, let's just do this replay very, very quickly. And this is Scar Pope going off at the right left, and then this is the left right. Oh, round he goes there, unfortunately for Scar Pope, and just unfortunately catches the curb. How are you dealing with this race circuit, do you think, here, Tom? What do you do? You sort of Dahlgren car ain't made like that, mate, as it goes and literally Tokyo drifts it round the corner. It just goes to show how much they've got to work in this car here as well, Tom. But what do we think? Are you settling in now, or are you just trying to gain places where you can?
Well, I think it goes back to what I was saying. I mean, those power slides there that we saw from Dahlgren going through the slalom chicane exemplifies the importance of actually just getting a grip on the machine and not be too greedy over those curbs, as that can upset the balance of the machine, really. Sellers has every right to push Dahlgren at the moment because it leaves Dahlgren with less options as to how he tackles the circuit during this first stint before he needs to come in for fuel at some point. I think strategy is going to play its part in how this race gets decided in all the classes.
I do agree. We're on board with Bradley Sellers behind Magnus Dahlgren. We've also got Kirsten closing in right behind these guys. There they are, the three guys there all racing together. The Ferrari 250, the Shelby Daytona of Sellers in this one, and then obviously behind that is Nick Kirstens, who's in the Ferrari as well. So it's a Daytona filling with Ferrari bread on the outside here as these guys closing in now. Does he sit there, do we think, for Bradley Sellers? Is he going to sit there and wait, or do you reckon he's going to try and get the job done as soon as possible?
Well, he can hold back all of you once, and even if he falls behind Kirsten at this stage, it's not a big problem because fuel saving, I think, is going to be key, or fuel management is going to be key in how this race gets ended. You can just see Sellers almost cutting the chicane there, taking every bit of curb possible to fly through there and just be on the tail of Dahlgren all the way through. Kirsten is not far behind this bunch also. He may decide that he'll be happy for these two to fight it out at this early stage and just see how it plays out. You know, you can see Sellers going through on Dahlgren here as they come towards the second chicane of the circuit. And as he go through, he went a little too deep, and Dahlgren was able to complete the switcheroo and get back through again without the two coming together. This is fantastic racing at this early stage of the race, James.
Yeah, power sliding through. They're now side by side again, going down in chicane Zagaria, the final chicane on this racetrack. Sellers is going to have the lead. Dahlgren's going to be nestled in second. Kirsten's going to want to try and get past as well. If Dahlgren's going to be the cork in the bottle, through the left, right. Now it's onto the start-finish line once again. Bradley Sellers out in front. There's somebody's just gone into the pit lane there behind us on shot, but it is this front three leading the way. Wouter de Bruin is into the pits. On your screen on the left-hand side, you can see as these guys power around this circuit. Full speed around this first opening part here, and I think that's the thing, Tom. This circuit lends itself to full speed racing all the way down. Nick Kirsten's topping north of 215, 220 kilometers an hour in fourth gear. There's a lot of them, but not all of the gearing on these cars. You would expect them to be doing these sort of speeds in fifth and sixth, but they're not. They're doing it on 4-gear machines. And it's absolutely mightily impressive how they're racking up these speeds as well.
Well, you need to keep the revs high all the way through, hence why they are remaining in fourth gear. Because the thing is, when you go into fifth or sixth gear, it takes more time for the revs to get up to its capacity in order for the car to go at full speed. So that's why it's not worth being in fifth or sixth gear at this point in the race with the amount of fuel on board. And now we're going to see, well, looks like a replay on this.
It's the overtake.
It's the overtake of Sellers, isn't it, on Dahlgren, or at least the battle that we saw earlier, where Dahlgren made the move through the chicane, took too much curb, and Dahlgren was able to get back through just before the pit straight on the inside. And I would imagine we're going to be seeing plenty of that throughout the race during the course of the next hour.
Yeah, through the traffic we start going as well. These machines here doing a stellar job through the left, right. It's now Dahlgren's under pressure from Kirsten's. Sellers has made a jump right at the beginning and has left them for he's trying to open up a gap. He's got it open at about 6 tenths currently. Really wants to open it more and more if he can. Onto the roof we go of Nick Kirsten. You can see Dahlgren sliding that machine. He was trying to push that through as much as possible. He's got them old street tyres on that car there, Tom. How are we going to affect these, especially when he's driving like that?
Well, I can't imagine it'll do the tyres too good when the power's sliding through corners like that. But I think when you've got a limited... Oh, someone's on fire.
Who's on fire?
Yeah, someone's on the right-hand side before the first chicane.
Yeah, somebody was on fire there. I hope they're all right and they're out of the car without any problems. Let's get the ambulance fire crew out there as well, please, out to that front straight, and we'll have a look and see if we can. We think it's actually Gilles Lalonde has gone poof, and he has gone poof. He went poof in a ceremonious, glorious fire out the back of his car. Unfortunately for Gilles Lalonde, and was that caused by the fact that he had been off track earlier on in the machine. He spun the car up and unfortunately went off the circuit chasing down Adam Green, and he went through sideways through the first chicane, and he got it all wrong. Dahlgren's now back with the lead of Sellers. He's got to miss the hay bale. Kirsten's missed the chicane. Somebody else has missed the chicane in front of us here as well. Is he going to come back on the circuit? He's not. Dahlgren's letting people through, I believe, for Magnus Dahlgren, but yeah, it was unfortunately Gilles Lalonde going a little bit poof on the side of the road. Full engine blowout there as well, Tom, and to be honest with you, he's still on fire in the pit lane, so hope they evacuate the pit lane.
Well, we're going to see a replay to find out what happened to Lalonde. I mean, this is not the best camera angle to see what had been going on, in all, so we'd like to see a proper TV camera to find out what... Okay.
So you'll see him go poof, and as he'll all of a sudden start coming out with flames here. Eric Monet has just been lapped once again on that one, and there is Gilles Lalonde. There is the fire, and as you can see, he's just absolutely gutted in that machine. Kirsten has cleared Dahlgren. Dahlgren is now in third place with Nick Kirstens in second, and then Dahlgren's in third behind Bradley Sellers. So the leader in the Div 3's still pushing. And answer to your question, Phil, no, Becky did not start there as well. This pacer needs to do 2 stops. Div 3 doing 42s. You can get 31 laps on a fuel tank in a 250 Ferrari. So there we go. We got Santiago Dancourt, Scar Pope, Gilles Lalonde and Eduardo Benica have all DNF'd, so we're down to 25 cars already, and we're only 10 laps in here with Nick Kirstens battling away with Bradley Sellers. Again, as you can see from the left-hand side, this is the closest battle on the race circuit for class position. All right, so for class position, this is the closest battle on the race circuit. So we'll keep an eye out on the mix sessions details and see if anybody, John Mayer, Jerry Chen, they're close together, Tavanari and Gardner probably close together on the race circuit as well. So we'll keep an eye all the way through the field here once again. Gilles Lalonde mightily unhappy there, Tom. Pure engine on fire.
Yeah, pure engine on fire. I don't know if he just sort of overcooked the engine too soon as a result of his power sliding, which forced him off the racetrack. You can see the top guys continuing to push as hard as they can there. Kirsten right on the tail of Sellers, but Dahlgren has dropped off. He feels he just needs to settle into this one, and I think that mistake at the chicane has probably knocked his momentum somewhat.
Has it knocked his confidence, do you think?
I reckon so. I just think he has to play a strategy game here if he's going to win this race, or at least just save the engine and manage the fuel, and try and outsmart both Sellers and Kirsten during the next 50 laps or so.
Yeah, Mike Bell and also in front of that is Wouter de Bruin. They're having a nice little tidy battle once more here is Mike Bell and Wouter de Bruin. This is Jerry Chen leading the Div 3 AMS, and John Mayer tucked in right behind him there as well. Mayer trying to close up on that second gap. Dahlgren's in the pits, so lap 11. We've got people going into the pit lane here. Kirstens is dropped behind Dahlgren. So unless he's told to redress the position, Tom, possibly, do we think?
Well, I'm a little bit confused by it because I thought Dahlgren had gone into the pits for fuel and tyres, but now he's all of a sudden ahead of Kirsten, although not for very long because he's completely overshot that chicane there, and surely he's gained an advantage by doing that.
Well, yeah, we'll have to see what goes on here, but at the moment they're still quite happily going tooth and nail at each other on the race circuit. Bradley Sellers is now out in front. Well, it says by... it being said that it might be a drive-through for track cuts. But I don't think Kirstens was that far away from Dahlgren. If he had done a drive-through, he would have been a long, long while behind him, as we're looking at a replay here on the main screen at this moment in time. That's the 115 car off at the side. He's going to go over that curve. Oh no, is it broke? And then
it looks like he knew that he was going to overshoot that last chicane. I think he may have been given a track limits warning to say that if he went and did it again one more time, he would have been penalised. So maybe that was why he backed out of it. And weirdly, Dahlgren was able to get in front of him through the pits. You don't see that every day.
Yeah, Gilles Lalonde had a shifting problem apparently. The machine was shifting short, and then obviously shifted short too many times, and unfortunately it has gone poof but Nick Kirsten's running side by side with Magnus Dahlgren now, tucking in once again. Oh. I'll be interested to know the track limit count on this, because there is a lot of people going over and completely using parts of this racetrack here, Tom, that are not within the track limits.
No, I wouldn't be at all surprised if we see some drivers in the pits taking, drive-throughs all the way through. But it felt like the drive-through that Dahlgren had took was very, very minimal. So it's almost like it's, if you do it so many times, perhaps it's not that bad of a deal. That's probably what's going through some of the drivers' minds. We are seeing a replay now of the 71 here. What's happening here?
It's gone off the side of the circuit. It's Reece Gardner has gone off the side of the circuit, unfortunately, in that 71 machine. Come into the chicane far too hot and missed the turn-in altogether. I'm gonna have a look at Dahlgren in. Dahlgren actually went full speed through the pit lane as well here, but this is Johnny Gutierrez in the 89 machine going in. Well, he didn't go into the chicane. It looked like he
lost it completely.
He lost, coming in, didn't he? It looked like Tom. He lost it on the way into it.
Yeah, he put so much pressure on the brakes as well, and when you put so much pressure on the brakes, you lock the rear wheels, and that's what caused him to lose it so much, and it threw him off the road completely. And I wouldn't be at all surprised if Gutierrez had pitted in for repairs, because it did look like a hefty whack.
Yeah, Reece Gardner's got a penalty, and I think Gutierrez has got a penalty at the same time. Mike Bell and Wouter de Bruin have just swapped places. Bell's just got in front of Wouter de Bruin at this moment in time. Jerry Chen and John Meyer have also battling away for the Div 3 AM lead, with Chen out in front currently at this moment in time here for Jerry Chen. He's doing a great job as well. Jerry, of course, leading the championship by 22 points over Mr. George Angelidis. So fair play to Jerry on that one for winning the championship at the moment here as well. Is there an ounce of complacency, Tom, when you're racing in lengths of events like this?
There can be, and it can be very easy to think that, laps 1, 2 or 3 are the laps where the race can be won. Far from it. It's where it can be lost, and you've got to play the strategy game. If you know you're not going to pass cars on circuits, you need to know, you need to sort of play the long game in order to come out on top, and that's how you're going to get your crucial points. I mean, we've lost 4 drivers from this race already, presumably due to reliability issues. And we've got 25 still running. Fernando Ferreira in the Porsche 904 GTS is running in 25th and last place. And he's running, where is he in terms of class? I think he's 3rd at the moment, isn't he? Is Ferreira. So in the Division 1 and 2 AM category.
Yeah, we've got John Mayer here trying to chase down on Jerry Chen. He's been taking time out of him. Took about 4 attempts over the last lap for John Mayer. So John's on a little bit of a run. He looks like a lot more comfortable in that car through the first opening long right-hander. I could call it turn 1, but it would also be turn 2, 3 and 4, as it's one continual turn all the way into the first chicane here as well. So these guys are just basically going full flat as they come running down into chicane Posabina at the right, left, right. You see 4 gears. That's all they've got to work with. That's literally it. There is no 5th, there is no 6th. It's literally just 4 gears on their machines, and because that's basically all they had. That's it. So there you go. There's probably no speed limit. No, there isn't. Formula Joy. He literally, Magnus Dahlgren literally hurtled through the pits at pretty much what looked like full speed here, with Jerry Chen and John Meyer still racing it out for the Div 3 AMS Championship on the race circuit, of course. The leader of the Div 3 AMS here as well. Jerry's been put under a lot of pressure by John at the moment. Is he going to be, has Jerry got to try and just kind of get on with it a little bit, Tom?
A little bit, really, but he hasn't got anything to lose at this point. I mean, Mayer has been gradually reducing the gap, but he's not exactly pushing either. I don't think either of these two are pushing in the same way as the leaders are overall. I think they're sort of taking their time with it because they're not really attacking the chicanes in the same way as the leaders have been doing, those in the Div 3 category I'm on about. So at this point, they're not exactly, I think they're just preserving the engine for later on because they know that they don't want to overcook it too soon before the end, because you won't score any points if you don't finish, of course.
Yeah, I can tell you now here as well, over the last lap times, Jerry was quicker than Maya. Maya was 3 tenths slower than Jerry Chen, so maybe Jerry's just being a lion playing with his food at the moment, but he was 3 tenths quicker. However, we have got back markers in front of us. It's Eric Monet and JT Tammy. You don't necessarily look at JT Tammy, but he is on the race circuit in 8th. This is not back marker, sorry, this is actually for position with Jerry Chen and John Mayer. John Ewan has looked like he's just got himself a penalty as well. I'm guessing that is track limits, being that he's to get that penalty, he went straight over the chicane. So penalties are coming there for some of these people who keep skipping this race circuit.
Yeah, and we're going to see plenty more of that as the race thickens, and we can see Meyer trying to make his way through back markers. And at the moment, the gap between him and Chen, it's 1.3 seconds there as he continues to make his way through, making it very, very carefully indeed. We're going to see a replay of someone launched over the curb.
Eric Monet in the blue and white machine, launching it up in the air, going over there on the curbs. They've got to be careful. There has been penalties handing out, so they're just going to have to make sure that they do be a little bit careful. Bradley Sellers has now got a penalty, the man in the lead, and I can tell you that's for an off track as well for Bradley Sellers. This is Eric Monet's jump over the curb. He's going to go put that car up in the air, all 4 wheels off the race circuit, throwing at Eric Monet, and Bradley Sellers is hurtling through the pit lane. Bradley Sellers is hurtling through the pit lane to serve his penalty, as these guys are Nick Kirstens and also Magnus Dahlgren are coming through the last part of the race circuit. But Bradley Sellers back out, in and out through the pit lane and back out in front, and now got a 10-second lead, Tom.
Yeah, and it's almost like that penalty was like no penalty for him. He can afford to take those kind of risks if he wanted to. I just hope he gets his strategy spot on if he's going to keep cutting the chicanes like he has been doing. It feels a little bit like dirty tactics in a way, because a penalty is like no penalty. It almost feels like a 5-second loss in the pits of just doing a drive-through, if not less than that. Don't you see it that way around the circuit with the penalties given out as they are?
I think the problem is it's a 64 layout. There were no pit limits, were there? You know, the people in the pit lane just kind of got out the way. And that is it. You know, you got out of the way and you went on. Fernando Ferreira has also had a penalty. He's been out and in and out of the pit lane. It looks like Dan Herlock is another one with Reese Gardner. Reese Gardner's gone out again. That's twice he's gone in. Ferreira has just mentioned that Ferreira has got a penalty there. But pick Bell and Timon Suvic, we're going to have a look back on what Elko Bosnick did, and it's very, very impressive. I can tell you, he come into the first chicane here and literally had that car sideways before he even got there, Tom. And now look at that, bumps it sideways, manages to hold it here, and you think, oh, go on, son, but look at his front wheels, they're turning right. So as soon as he lands, the car instantly wants to go right, and then all of a sudden he is in deep, deep trouble at this point, as he's going to go and tap the barrier, Tom.
Yeah, and I can imagine he'll damage the car with the way he's squirreling his way through the chicane there as he rejoins the... Yeah, it was a brilliant camera angle, wasn't it? But he's on his way now. He's behind Bell in 5th place, is Suvic, and I'd imagine he'll be losing time thanks to the off he's just had.
Yeah, definitely. And now Bosnick's in the pits as well. He's just got himself a penalty, and probably that may have something to do with the track limits that we've seen here. Jerry Chen on the circuit. That is the 666 machine of Bradley Sellers there, and it needs to be no, it wasn't Bradley Sellers in the 666 machine. Jeffrey Ellis in the 666 machine, so there as well. So Jeffrey needs to he's really going some in that car there once again. So John Mayer, Jerry Chen battling it out with the 666 machine right in behind them there as well. We're on 19 of 66. We've still got a long way to go before, but this Chen, Ellis and Meyer is actually for track positions on the circuit, Tom. So Jeffrey Ellis has no need to get out of the way. Jeffrey Ellis has got no reason to get out of the way because it's a battle for overall position.
Yeah, well, they're going through these chicanes again, and you can see that Chen and Meyer are nose to tail. And yes, they are battling for position, those two, so there's no reason for Chen to move out of the way by any stretch. Uyen's in the pits, presumably to get a drive-through served, and he's out on his way again. Looking at the 27 there of George Angelidis, heading through the last corner before the pit straight, running in a solid third in the Div 3 AMA category, so right about 6 seconds off the class leader of Chen. And Angelidis is a man on the mission at the moment.
Yeah, he's trying to catch up here, is George. George. Adam Gray's got a penalty. Luca Tavanari's got a penalty. They're in and out of this pit lane, and that's it. On they go once more. The question is if they get more and more penalties, what will be the punishment eventually until they get to the penalty of a DNF altogether in regards to track limits? You've got Ellis and JT Tammy are having a nice little tidy battle a bit further down. That is a position. Ellis in the Smile Power Racing Shelby, JT in the Chevrolet Corvette. They're currently side by side. JT Tammy's just slopped in behind him there as well, as we look at John Mayer and Jerry Chen. So we'll keep an eye out throughout this race circuit of all the battles. As I say, battle down in 8th and 9th at this moment in time, which is just in front of the Jerry Chen and John Mayer battle.
So we are continuing to see John Mayer reaching onto the rear of Jerry Chen, and seems that they're going through the chicanes sweet and sound so far. They're just hoping not to get too many more penalties from here on in. And we have seen some pit stops already. I think Modelin's been in the pits for 40 seconds. His stop was 40 seconds long, actually. I don't know if that's the length we are expecting to see pit stops for when the leaders come in overall. We have seen a replay here. Who are we focusing on here? It's the number 27, isn't it?
It's George Angelidis. He's going to bounce over the curbs. He's going to put that car all four wheels off the floor once again. And he did what the other driver couldn't do and kept his wheels straight. As soon as you land with your four wheels in the air, and as soon as you turn in right, you're going to instantly go right when you hit the deck. So you saw that earlier on as well. And really that was with Bussening, Tom. It's important that if you do get these cars up in the air, then you've got to literally make sure the steering wheel is straight, right?
Yeah, 100%. And I'm not saying that these cars are designed as buffers to go over those curves like that. I'm sure it won't do the suspension too good if you do it too many times. But you can just see how Angelidis is pushing ever so hard through the chicanes here, and someone going through on the inside there. I don't know if that's just to lap another car, but now that the drivers are familiar with this racetrack, they know the limits now. They know when to turn in, they know when to brake. The only difference is how much fuel has each driver got on board, and that has a difference. Or you can just see Angelis riding over those curves at the same point as he did so last time, and that tells you how much how hard he is pushing at this stage.
Yeah, Jeffrey Ellis has got a penalty. That is for track limits, I can tell you that. So Ellis will be heading into the pits, I'm sure, to clear off that penalty as well. That was for track limits, due to the fact that obviously
he's hit the bay hail.
Skipping the circuit. And George is still going. He's been doing it all the way through, hasn't he? Let's be real. Even he was doing it before the race even started for George Angelidis. Ellis has stopped in the pits. Chen and Mayer are now back together and not very far apart at all here. They're on your screens as if by magic there, as these guys are continuing to fight it out. Lap 22 of lap 66. We're only 1/3 into the race now, Tom. We've seen penalties, we've seen people going in, we've seen people making mistakes. Is this a race where keeping it on the racetrack could be good for you?
Well, yes, because you want to be the survival of the fittest and making sure you get to the end, because we don't know how far these cars can actually take it. We've just seen the number 70. Is that Gardner who's gone for another spin there? Yeah, and he's forced someone to take evasive action as a consequence. So very lucky for both of them to stay in this race, actually. That could have ended in tears, couldn't it?
Yeah, it could have done. Lucky enough, both of them got out of... Oh, I can tell you one thing. Ruud de Bruin and Fernando Ferreira were not so lucky. They literally nearly had it coming together, and we're going to get a replay of this. Watch this as Ruta comes hurtling in to that first chicane. Fernando Ferreira is kind of just there. There's Ruta de Bruin. Oh, yeah. Ruta carrying full speed there, and Fernando Ferreira kind of just almost being in the way there, Tom, would you say?
And we're getting reports of an incident in the background as well, James. Hopefully we'll get to see a replay of that. But going back to what you were saying about the incident with Ferreira and De Bruyne, it looks like Ferreira almost came to a full stop there as he went into that chicane. I don't know what on earth has happened to him, whether he's had a clout with the wall or something like that. But either way, it wasn't it was a very hairy moment that could have ended disastrously for the pair of them.
Yeah, here we go. Here is that replay. We were expecting it here as well. This is George Angelidis as we're behind the Sports. Oh, well, that's one way of knocking the hay bales out the way in that 27 machine. I'm just wondering if he has just bumped that back onto the race circuit. It hasn't affected him massively. He's got severe damage on the front right of his car, has George. It's literally, driver's side front. And it's literally dented like crazy. But he is now 1.3 seconds back from John Mayer, who's just in front of Jerry Chen. So George not giving up. We've got Sellers, Suvic, Gardner, Gray, Monet, Ferreira, all in the pit lane currently at this moment in time as well here. So there's a lot of people started going in the pits here, Tom, and we're only 1/3 through the race.
Yeah, and some of these will be laps behind the leaders as well. So they won't need to do as many laps. Whereas with Kirsten, Dahlgren and De Bruyne, they'll probably do the whole race distance. John Mayer is still chasing the number 66.
Yeah, we've got another penalty there as well. Jeffrey Ellis, that's going to be for an off track. He's done a few of them, unfortunately, for Jeffrey, and he has just gone straight into the pits and straight out the other side. And Jeffrey from the Smile Pile Racing goes and gets himself a off-track. Nick Kirsten's out in front at the moment with Magnus Dahlgren. Nick, well, it's a tough one with Nick and Magnus at the moment because the gap goes down to about 4.5 seconds, Tom, and then comes back out to 6.9 again. Yeah,
and that's... I didn't quite pick up on the Kirsten Dahlgren graph, but it seems to be shrinking all the time, and Dahlgren is chasing down Kirsten on this lap alone. Bussink is in the pits in the number 47 in the Div 1 and 2 category. Where will he rejoin in comparison to Herlock? Because I don't know if Herlock has actually been in the pits before Bussink did. But we'll see if Bussink does get out just before Herlock gets around.
No,
right on board
Herlock.
with, is this Angelidis we're riding on board on the side screen?
On the right hand side, yeah, but Dan Herlock has got through on Elko Bussink because Bussink is still in the pit lane here. So Elko Bussink still in the pits, and he's still in the pits. and at the moment is losing time hand over foot. He's now down in 14th place here, and we're going on, apparently it's hand over fist, but there we go. I like the foot. Why not? It's just the same as my hand. I've got 5 fingers on each one of them. You know what I mean? So Robert Moling has had a penalty, and that is for track limits. He's just gone off the side of the circuit again. Jerry's in, George is in, Jason Whitehead has had a moment as well, going around I'd say turn 1, the long right-hander. He runs wide and unfortunately just gets it all a little bit lost. But Mayer now out in front. Angelidis and Chen in the pits. We're getting into that main pit stop cycle, Tom.
Yeah, and we expected it to be around this stage. So when will Kirsten decide to pit in? And when will Dahlgren decide to pit in? Because I don't think either of them have come in for stops yet, have they?
No, not at the moment, but I would expect them to go a little bit longer. I would be quite surprised if they go to at least mid 35 here for the Div 3 cars. It was about 1 to 3 stops, so we'll have to see whether or not it's going to be obviously 1 to 3. I believe this is probably going to be Jason Whitehead's moment. It is Jason Whitehead's moment. He comes into the corner, he loses the back end, boom, into the Schumacher S as he goes, and the Schumacher chicane, I should say. And then, unfortunately, it just looks like he hits the brakes a little bit too hard there, Tom, and the back end starts rotating.
Yeah, and it looks like he's damaged the suspension as he joined. I don't know if he was able to continue on from there. We'll have a look to see what happens to Jason Whitehead, but he has dropped down the order. That's most certainly. He's moving okay, so he's still in the race, is Whitehead, albeit a long way behind those he's fighting with in the same category as he is.
Yeah, but as long as he's out running, I suppose that's always the best thing for him. If you're on the racetrack, at least you're making, you're going in the right way, aren't you? That's the thing. As long as you're going the right way and on the racetrack there, Tom, I suppose at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter if he's got a little bit of damage. We've seen it before, haven't we, where people can have quite a lot of damage and they still manage to stay out and finish the race. However, for Jason, he has just got a penalty for track limits, and he's going to need to be he's going to need to go into the pits, is Jason Whitehead. So, yeah. Nick Kirsten's leading the way with Magnus Dahlgren and Bradley Sellers. Dahlgren's now in the pit lane, Tom. So we're 27 laps and Magnus Dahlgren's ventured in.
Yeah, so where will he filter out in comparison to Sellers? Gutierrez is in on this battle actually as well. As Sellers goes through, how long will it be before Dahlgren gets out? I don't think it's clocked his pit stop time actually, so has Dahlgren picked up an issue?
No, not at the moment. He's been in there for 43 seconds. Johnny Gutierrez has got damage. He's just gone off at the first chicane, and it looks like... No, he's still running. He's gone into the pit lane as Johnny Gutierrez, and is still currently sat in the pit lane there as well. Dahlgren is now looking at coming out of the pit lane. He's been in there for just over a minute and a little bit, and I believe Magnus Dahlgren is back out on the racetrack. He is, and off and running round turn 1. So Nick Kirsten's on the left. Oh, okay, Magnus Dahlgren was on the right, and Dahlgren's now out of the pit lane. So John Myers in. So it's going to be where Angelidis and Jerry Chen. It looks like Angelidis jumped Jerry Chen in the pit lane, but they are close together again. Through the Schumacher chicane they go. There is Angelidis and Chen. And then in the bottom corner, we may see John Mayer in the pits if Paul can work his magic to see if John Mayer can come up on the bottom right, as he's still in the pit lane at the moment. Nick Kirsten's also in the pits. There is John Mayer in the bottom right hand side. George Angelidis and Jerry Chen. They are going through a right, left, right final chicane before they've got that run out on to the start-finish straight here as well. Pit lane times are well above a minute, Tom. It looks like they're going to get him. They're going to get him as well. Mayer's still in the pits. He's moving now. But Jerry Chen and George Angelidis have jumped him by quite some way there. And Mayer has lost a lot of time, minute 14 lap time, of pit lane time.
Yeah, it looks like he stalled in the pit lane, did Mayer. I don't know what happened to him, but he just got... he had the biting point on his clutch, and the engine just went on him. So he's lost time trying to get the engine going again, and he's fallen in quite a bit away behind Angelinas and Chen now. So Mayer's got with it all to do if he was to take the class victory today.
No, John Mayer's 17 seconds or 18 seconds back behind Angelina leaders. Dan Herlock has got the lead in Div 1, Div 2s with Robin Molin behind and Luca Tavanari. Gray is leading the Div 1, Div 2 AMS. He's got 16 seconds in front, of course, of the high-flying Eric Monet, who we watched earlier on. Bradley Sellers is coming up here, George, and also Jerry Chen. So this is actually to put a lap on the Div 3 AMS from the Div 3 leader here, Tom.
Well, yes, and this is perhaps the closest battle we've got on circuit right now. There is a yellow liveried machine behind them there.
That's Bradley Sellers, dude. He's the leader of the race, just about to lap Jerry Chen and George Angelides.
There we go, yeah. So I thought it'd be going quicker than him. You can just see he's putting a lap on both Chen and Angelides very shortly. Sellers with an... I don't want to say it's an unchallenged lead because it's not, because I don't know what his strategy is in comparison to Bell, Dahlgren and De Bruyne, but he's running the race nicely, although Bell is getting the gap down ever so gradually, and Whitehead's in the pits again, and this has to be for another unscheduled stop because it wasn't so long since he came into the pits last time.
No, that would be the fact that probably to need repairs after he absolutely thumped a hay bale at the Schumacher chicane and then goes and rinks it in the metal barrier on the left-hand side, which is what this will be showing us. Oh, no, this is not him, but this is another one as Robert Molin's going to hit that curb as well. Put the car... Oh, his car didn't. Oh, there you go. Don't steer right. Keep it straight. And he did... Oh, nope. Slight little turn for Robin Molin. And that back end's coming round as well. And as somebody, Formula Troy, turn right to go left in the YouTube chat. It just about might have got away with that one. Jason Whitehead has literally just gone into the pits after his incident with the barrier. So for Jason Whitehead, not a good idea. Jerry Chen, Angelides and Maya, or Angelides and Chen, should we say, and Maya's 16 seconds back. Maya's lost 16 seconds, Tom, just in that pit lane cycle here. Not a good idea. And then Fernando Ferreira, again, is he going to be... He's got lots of damage down the right-hand side. Look at the front right and look at the rear as well. He's definitely been in the wars as Fernando this evening, and there's another dent there as well.
Yeah, he's having to go into the pit lane there, and he would have picked up damage from that. So, another horrible race there for Ferreira so far, but at least he's in the top three in the Div 1 and 2 AM category. Monet and Gray are the only ones ahead of him.
Right, they're the only ones in Div 3, Div 1 and 2 AMs with him. Dancourt's out, of course. We've lost Oliver Dancourt. So, if anything, Ferreira, if he keeps going, is actually going to get third place. That's purely by default, Tom, I guess. When you lose people in your category, that is that's kind of how it works out. So, for Fernando, he might as well just keep going, isn't he?
Yeah, may as well. And you can just see the leaders there, Jerry Chen and George Angelides in the Div 3 category, or Div 3 AM category, are going down the pit straight together, nearly launching over the curves of the chicane that have just gone through. And so we haven't really assessed the bump draft yet, have we? But I don't think the bump draft is that effective around here with these machines.
No, I don't think they might be able to use it to go and break away, as Dan Herlock is in 11th place. That is a battle for position on the race circuit with the Div 1 and 2 Pro there of Dan Herlock. So he's doing that one there as well. We'll have a look at the mid-race results currently at the moment. People where they are, look out for your favourite driver. Bradley Sellers is out in front currently with Mike Bell in second and Magnus Dahlgren in third. Then you've got JT Sammy, Simon Suvik, Wouter de Bruin, Nick Kirstens, Johnny Gutierrez. Jerry Chen leading the Div 3 AMS with George Angelidis in 10th. We've seen most of that battle this evening in the race. Then you've got Dan Herlock and John Mayer, who unfortunately was up for this battle but lost it in the pit lane. Robin Molin in the 13th place there. Then you go into Jeffrey Ellis sitting in 14th with Tavanari and Elko Busanic, Rhys Gardner, Oliver Day, John Uyan and Neil Wood rounding out your top 20. Ben Borman in 21st, Adam Gray leading the Div 1-2 AMS there with Jason White, who's not had a good one. Then Eric Monet and then Fernando Ferreira behind there, a couple of laps down. Then you've got Santiago Dancourt, DNF Scar Pope, DNF Gilles Lalonde, DNF Eduardo Benica is a DNF. So we've lost the 4 drivers at the bottom of the list there here currently at this moment in time. And I'll say currently because we've still got 35 laps to remain in there, Tom, and anything could happen.
Yeah, a lot of time for everything to change. You can just see all the class leaders. So Sellers running away with it so far. Chen has only got Angelius right behind him at this moment in time. Herlock dominating things in Div 1 and 2. And then in Div 1-2 AM is Gray, who is 10 seconds up the road from Moynier. So we're heading towards the second half of the race then. We're not 100% sure on how strategy is going to play a part in this one. What will be going through Sellers' mind at this moment in time?
Who, Bradley Sellers?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, he's having a whale of a time. Don't completely, putting it politely, he ain't going to mess it up. Go hit your braking markers. You've got a 33-second lead. There's no need to rush. And what is worse, actually what is better for Bradley Sellers is his teammate, Mike Bell, both from the Smile Power Racing, both in the Shelby Daytona, is behind him. There's a penalty for Ferrari as well, and that's going to be due to an off-track. So Bradley Sellers has got his teammate behind that as well, with Magnus Dahlgren sitting in third. So there's no real rush for Bradley Sellers to do anything out the ordinary, Tom, apart from sit in the car, go into the pits, pick up his grandma, chuck her in the car as well, and have a nice Sunday drive round Pacusa, to be blatantly honest with you, because he's got that much time to be able to do that.
Yeah, and one driver who's not had a good time with it so far is Kirsten, because he was at the front of the field with Sellers and Dahlgren earlier on. Since then, his pace has dropped.
Just trying to see if there was anything that happened to Nick Kirstens in the meantime. I don't think there has. I've been screamed at by our wonderful producer in my ear, who is normally the first one to tell me if something has gone completely wrong. Ferrari are having a rotten time. Runs wide out of one, and unfortunately he's gone off the side of the circuit as well as Fernando. So he's not in a good place. However, Jerry Chen and George Angelidis are the closest battle on the race circuit, and I can tell you that one now. They are the closest battle for the class lead. Through everybody, of course, currently at this moment in time, there is nobody else really battling it out for positions on track. Nick Kirstens is slowly, actually he's caught Wouter de Bruin. Nick Kirstens is actually caught Wouter de Bruin. They're going side by side down the start-finish line here as well. We'll see if we can pick up that battle and bring up both of these battles at the same time. But Wouter de Bruin and Nick Kirstens are not very far apart. There they are. Round turn one we go. Kirstens locked in right behind him. It's going to be a full throttle run, full pace, full bore. Who's going to be able to deal with this one? They're both topping north at 220 kilometers an hour, going off around this long right-hander here, Tom. And it is a no-lift corner, Tom. It's literally just full flat. As soon as you get out the last chicane, bang, go for it.
Yeah, he's waiting for that opportunity. Brian almost looked like he missed the chicane there a little bit, which has knocked his momentum. Kirsten biding his time. He sees a gap. Does he go through on De Bruyne? He's alongside him now. He's within a car's length. I think there's going to be a change of position here overall.
Wouter de Bruyn's going to have the inside line for Schumacher, though. Through the Schumacher chicane they go. De Bruyn is going to go, there you go. It's literally a straight line. Now they're going to try. De Bruyn's trying to get the power on early. He's trying to get that sliding Shelby Daytona over that 250. The 250 from Ferrari has come out on top. Where have we seen that before over these sports cars years here as well? Mr. Reese, welcome in to YouTube chat. Bit delayed there, sir. Where you been? As these guys continue to fight it out around the final chicane here as well. The right, the left, and then Kirsten's going to go to left, then the right. The Ferrari again once more tucked in that nice little lead here. And De Bruyn has lost out for areas in the pit lane. So there you go. And now we've also just been told Mike Bell has got a penalty. And he's come out after his penalty, I believe, in front of Jeffrey Ellis. So Mike Bell there is Jeffrey Ellis in front of behind Mike Bell, and again it looks like Jeffrey is obviously from the Smile Power Racing team. So Mike Bell, Jeffrey Ellis and Bradley Sellers currently all from the Smile Power Racing team, and it's 1 and 2 for them guys currently, with Bradley Sellers out in front and Bell sitting in second. Dahlgren's a long way back. So there on that one, Cherry Chen is losing places. Hold on a minute, we're going to have... Oh, there's an incident between George, JT Tammy and Jerry Chen. Oh, Jerry has thumped JT.
Yeah, he's got a problem there as Angelis. He looks very, very slow. He's got going again though, so I don't know whether he's had a moment with someone. But it looks
he has had a moment. He has. JT Tammy went off. He got thumped by Jerry Chen. George went round and hit him, and George went down and hit the barrier. And now there is just a big load of calamity because they're trying to work out positions. Who should be where at the moment? George slowed down to allow Jerry to go back through because Jerry was involved in the incident initially with JT Tammy. But Tammy, took a thump and a half from Jerry Chen and literally put he's put JT Tammy round. He's allowed JT Tammy to come and carry on, and George has slowed down to allow Jerry to carry on. So these guys having a right. Oh, this is it, Bell. Oh, you are kidding me. Jeffrey Ellis has just tapped Mike Bell. They both survived. But I can tell you one thing, Jeffrey and Mike are not going to be friends if that had gone completely worse here. Oh, dearie me, there's a lot of calamities out on this racetrack at the moment, Tom.
Yeah, we'll want to have a replay to find out what exactly has been going on involving...
so this is JT, watch Jerry Chen in the background here. Watch, bang, punches JT. JT then loses the back end after being out. He starts getting all squirrely, hit the brakes. There comes George, bang, for George Angelides. Hits the barrier, misses Jerry, misses JT, and then they all slow down and let each other all back through again. So there we go. Wow.
It's a massive incident there, and looks like Ferrari's day is done as well, so he will not make it onto the podium with by not finishing. But that was a very bizarre moment between Jen Angelis, and it's allowed John Mayer to get back into the fight now as well, because he's within 4 seconds of the class leader.
Ben Borman, it looked like he just disconnected. Mike Bell has been into the pit lane. Borman was just literally driving straight and then just disappeared off the race circuit. So I can tell you now, Ben Borman is back out on the race circuit again, mind you. He is back out, but he is unfortunately towards the back end of the field is Ben. So that was a disconnect for Ben Borman. He's reconnected back to the session. Ferrari's Dancourt, Pope Lalonde and Eduardo Bonica are the ones that are out at this moment in time. So very calamitous 10-15 minutes of racing there as teammates were eating each other, and Jerry Chen was hit JT Tammy, and it all went a little bit awry there for a minute, Tom.
Yeah, it was a very bumpy ride indeed, and we are watching Angelides going after Chen for the class lead. It won't be too long before these two come very, very close again. and Chen in the number 66, and Angelise in the number 27, and then it'll be John Mayer in the number 88. And between those two, who is that's trying to unlap or trying to go through?
Robin Molin.
So Robin Molin has just allowed.
It was Robin Molin. He is behind George Angelidis on the race circuit. He's just allowed Magnus Dahlgren to go round and lap him. But that calamitous incident they have had, watch this. This is Bell and Ellis. Watch Ellis in the 666. Goes over that piece of curbing and then into Bell. And unfortunately, nearly spins Mike Bell here. I wonder if this is the one. Is this the one? No, I think that's the one where them two get away with it. But there is another one behind that. Molin's got Dahlgren. Now, one of the things that we didn't say about that incident with Jerry Chen is the fact that John Mayer has closed up 12 seconds. So John Mayer is only currently not too far behind the Angelidis Chen battle. So this Div 3 Hams is getting spicier than a Vindaloo at a curry house at this moment in time. And I believe this might be the one where they hit each other. There you go. Boom. And I can't really say that Mike Bell really loved Ellis for this as they're coming into the chicane. He goes right, goes left. Ellis comes in. Looks like full pelt. Now, the question is, it's a shame we can't get that up top to see if there was contact or... No, there definitely was contact. Surely there was contact, Tom, wasn't there?
Yeah, well, it's hard to say, but I'm sure the momentum must have been knocked there on Bell as he...
could have done with that angle. Yeah, let's go back and have a look at that angle.
Let's have a look.
Oh, yeah, yes.
I think he was already losing it anyway, but then Ellis was able to spin the car around completely.
Yeah, we've got De Bruin in the pit lane. Now we've got a little of a pack of cars around John Mayer at the moment. Robin Molin, George Angelidis, Jerry Chen, Magnus Dahlgren, all in this little pocket of a battle of cars. These are multiple different positions, mind you. Dahlgren's trying to lap. Mayer's trying to clear Molin. Molin's trying to clear Angelidis, and Angelidis is trying to clear Chen. All the while, JT Tammy is trying to get on his bike and be out of the way of all of this, and he's sitting in front of it currently at the moment. So we've got no fewer than about 5 cars, I believe it is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as I do quick maths on my hands, and so they're all battling away here. So great action from these guys. It looks like Angelidis has just got that corner all a little bit wrong. It's going to allow Dahlgren and Molin up on the inside. George Angelidis made a mistake. Molin's got the position, and now this is not even in class at the moment. This is just on the racetrack. Robert Molin, Div 1-2 Pro is now past these guys on the race circuit. So a lot of this track position, and Mayer and Angelidis are now close together, Tom.
Yeah, they're a lot closer, and you can just see how much time Mayer's been taking out of Angelidis during the course of that last lap. So to begin a new lap here, is Mayer close enough to attack Angelidis this time around? We'll find out and see how they get through the chicanes this time around, but hopefully they don't come to blows. As we have a look on a replay, what are we watching here? Let's take a look.
That is Magnus Dahlgren in the 89 machine, getting all out of shape with Robin Molin and George Angelidis. Dahlgren showing us how to power slide these cars round this chicane. He's gone in the right left, he's going to straighten up and crack on his way as if nothing had happened. So there you go, that is what you were watching there, dear sir. John Mayer teaching us how to Tokyo drift these machines through the chicane.
Well, Jerry Chen has lost so much time because he was a few seconds clear of Angelidis and Mayer, and all of a sudden he's been held up by back markers. He's fallen back into the clutches of Angelidis now.
I can tell you one thing, though, dear sir. I will correct you on something. They are not back markers. They are fighting for position on the race circuit. Ellis, you've got Herlock, Tammy, Molin are in 10th, 9th and 8th ahead of Chen, Angelidis and Mayer by 11th, 12th as well. So They are battling on the race circuit, but they're not battling in class. And this is JT Tammy with Magnus Dahlgren nearly making contact again at the same place for Magnus Dahlgren. JT Tammy nearly had it, and there was contact again with JT Tammy. Oh, JT, you are not having the best of luck here. Who is this? Oh no, he loses it on his own. I don't think that there is. If there was, it was the slightest touch from Moling. Here we go. Watch the right. Let us. Oh, did he touches? And then Moling goes in the pit lane by the looks of it. He did go in. So he goes and bumps JT Tammy out of the way, and it goes into the pit lane afterwards. So there we go, Tom. That's the way to do it.
Yeah, well, he's certainly gained an advantage by nudging his rival round there, and it was lucky to succeed. Although Angelides very nearly overshooting the chicane, and that's only going to give Chen a chance of getting back through here. Angelides is having a tricky time of it, and now Chen will be fancying a go at it in the near future.
Yeah, Joey Chen's climbing all over Angelides. That is Monet in front in that 40 machine, continuing to fight it out, but is it going to be able to make it through Angelides? That will be the question. Or that's Nick Kirstens, actually. That is the fourth place man putting a lap on George Angelides with Eric Monet in behind him.
Tells you about their races so far, isn't it? But Kirsten, it looks like he's found his speed again after losing time earlier. But is he close enough to challenge Dahlgren? He's 7 seconds behind. Dahlgren made that 6.5 or 5.5, however you want to put it. But he's definitely gaining time on this lap, although it is fluctuating all the time.
Yeah, it's going up and down, isn't it, quite rapidly at the moment. You know, you've got to think there's a lot going on. There's traffic in the way as well. You know, we've got JT Tammy making his way through the field here, Tom. Gardner's been into the pits and back out. That looks like he's just served a penalty due to the fact that he was only in for 7. JT Tammy is closing up behind Mayer closing up behind Dahlgren, sorry. So, yeah, there's a lot going on the race circuit at the moment. John Mayer closing into Tammy, but there is Eric Monet, who is unfortunately let down, basically between the two of them.
Well, you can see cars going off all over the place, just staying out of the way of the leaders or those ahead of them in the overall field. Just the 5 retirements so far in this race so far: Fernando Ferreira, Santiago Dancourt, Scarpo, Gilles Lalonde, and Eduardo Benica, who didn't even take the start. So we've got about 25 laps remaining here at Vegusa, and it looking Bradley Sellers has got this one sewn up by the looks of things, but he needs to make sure he brings the car home without any errors from here on in.
Yeah, he's still got his teammate 43 seconds back. He's got Dahlgren 19 seconds back behind that. Now the question will be for the Div 3s, of course, whether or not there's going to be one more stop, because we did have the prediction of 1 to 3 stops. You know, it kind of leaves it open. Tamanari's going in the Div. It's gone in the Div 1, Div 2. So, you know, there's a lot there between for these guys to consider as well, Tom, as well, because obviously if the Div 3s are only going to go 1 to 3, has Sellers saved enough to be able to have done the 1 stop? And it looks like we've lost Robin Molin there as a DNF.
Well, let's have a look on the timing page. And it looks like he has stopped, so we want to see what actually happened to Molin, because I would imagine he's probably dropped it somewhere, because he was running quite high up in his class before his moment. But we'll find out in the near future what will be going on with it. So we've got a fight for the class lead here between Angelides and Chen in Div 3 AM. And it looks like it's not close enough there, is Chen, to make a move just yet.
I've got a funny feeling Robin Molin ran out of fuel. He literally lost all pace and ended up going into the pit lane, did Robin Molin. You'll see it here. He literally just pulls the car over. He all of a sudden goes through the chicane, and then he just cuts out. He bounced the car. He got the car straight. Did he get it? Is this just before then? And then he's gone. That's it. He's lost everything. He's got no power whatsoever for Robin Molin, and he's got nowhere to go apart from on the side of the road.
It's a terrible shame though, because he was running really well up until that point. But that's his race done and dusted, unfortunately. We are seeing pit stops. Bell's in the pits now from second place in the Div 3 category. We'll probably be jumping behind Suvik, won't he? Which he will do. But this is the fight we want to be looking out for between Angelidis and Jen.
Yeah, Angelidis and Jen battling out still for 10th and 11th. Leading, obviously, in Class Div 3 AMS. They're going to be side by side, Jerry Chen and George Angelidis. Are they? Nope. Jerry gives him room. Come into the right, the left, and then we're going to go again. This is the final chicane on the circuit. It's going to be the left, then it's going to be right. George has got that all wrong. George got it all wrong. He got it all wrong. Now is going to be Jerry Chen's opportunity. Is he going to make this run, Jerry? Is he going to be able to get this one out? He goes over side by side. They're currently running at this moment in time. It looks like Jerry, is he going to get it? This is going to be the Schumacher chicane. So that was the first chicane, sorry. And George, Jerry Chen still second place at the moment here. And now George has got a penalty. George has got a penalty. As it was screened 3 times in my hero here as well. So George is going to have to go and do a drive-through. But we have aware that it is a full-speed drive-through. So George Angelidis will lose that lead to Jerry Chen. He will lose that lead to that gap to John Mayer. It will be where he comes out after that one.
Yeah. It's also, is he going to lose second place to John Mayer as he comes out of the pits?
Yeah, it seems to be a 7.5 second full speed pit lane. And Mayer's only, well, it said John Mayer was only 5 seconds back. But I think at the moment we'll keep an eye on that one, because I don't think Mayer could possibly be 5 seconds back.
Well, in fact, he's on the tail of Angelidis as Angelidis out of the pits, so the gap I don't think is relevant.
Oh, okay. So obviously there's a bit of an issue going on, because I had him a lot further back than that. Wood Bruin goes through on Mayer. Mayer could really do without this. He can see George. He just wants George. Let him have George. But Wood Bruin is trying to go round at the same time here. And now he's going to overtake George, coming up into the Schumacher chicane. And is Wooter going to get it done before he gets there? JT Tammy's just got John Ingham. Wooter's got them. Now John Mayer has just got George Angelidis setting his sights again, as Wooter gets it all a little bit wrong and holds up George Angelidis, bringing John Mayer into the fight.
Yeah. Well, it's very much hotting up now, as they all made their way through different cars and different classes. And it looks like John Mayer's praying that he can get a go at Angelidis at some point. I think he will do. Not this lap, but on the next lap after they get through the chicane. And Angelidis nearly clipping the Armco, entering the last chicane of the course. And all this is helping John Mayer to close in.
Something happened to Reese Gardner. He has just had the most weirdest incident I have ever seen. He comes out of a chicane, he's going down the straight, and then all of a sudden the car spins on him. Very, very bizarre from Reese. We'll see if we can get that one on your screen and show you. He's still running, mind you, but boy oh boy, was that the weirdest looking incident I've seen for quite a while from Reese Gardner there. And then obviously Whitehead looks like he's had another bit of a problem. He misses the final chicane, and then Timon Suvik has missed the first chicane, got all out of shape under braking and completely, nope, that's the final chicane as well, and completely missed it. So Whitehead and Suvik having a little bit of problem in that final chicane there, as we go with John Mayer, who's still trying to catch down George Angelidis. And here is the replay. Which one are we going to see? Yeah, this is Gardner's. Watch, he goes through this chicane, and then all of a sudden, he just... It looked like he hit an imaginary wall there.
No, he clipped the barrier. He clipped the outside barrier as he exited the chicane. So we'll get a rewind of that. I'm very sure he clipped the outside barrier as he came onto the straight. Yeah, that's exactly what he's done. So it's not,
Gee whiz. That must have been the slightest touch there, Tom.
it felt rather big given the way he clipped the barrier. So he was facing the oncoming traffic as a consequence. And now he's into the pits for repairs, I would presume.
Yeah, it looks like more of a drama written by an EastEnders writer, to be blatantly honest with you, to be how little it was to how much dramatics it put through the car there. It was a very overboarded reaction, and this is the 34 machine. This is Jason Whitehead, who's had a bit of a rough day as Jason in that 34 machine, gets it all wrong going into the final chicane. And if you go behind that, I believe Timon Suvik also did the same thing just before this. So unfortunately, it looks like people getting that final chicane wrong. It looks like Jason Whitehead has gone very, very slowly, and something must have happened. George has obviously dropped because of that penalty, so he's still got Meyer in there, but at the moment they're in a battle with plenty of back markers here, and this is Timon Suvik. He gets all out of shape under braking on the way in, squirrely, whirly, squirrely, and completely misses the chicane there, so Timon Suvik. So yeah, a bit of a rough one. But as Whitehead, Meyer, Chen, JT, Tammy, Angelidis, all on the same bit of tarmac here, Tom.
Yes, indeed. Kirsten's close in on Sellers, and I would think that Sellers came in for a pit stop. So I don't know when Kirsten's going to pit again before this race is over. If our word is to be believed that Sellers is not going to pit again. Oh, we just saw Angelina's overshooting the chicane there, and I would imagine he might be picked up a penalty or some form of warning for that.
He has already had one as George Angelidis, so he does need to be a little bit careful. Jason Whitehead is literally having more dramas than anyone I have seen in a race, apart from Barry DiMarzio last season. Whitehead has gone round again. Not good for Jason Whitehead this evening. And it's just to top it all off, he had to go into the pits as well. So, Whitehead having a rough one here at the same time. And I believe we're going to see that on your screen. Oh, no, that is the 27. That's George Angelidis. Getting it all wrong going into the chicane. And JT Tammy. George taps the barrier there. That was the final chicane. And then Mayer should make his way through, which he does do.
Angelidis dropping it at the last chicane of the course, and that allowed Mayer to go through into the lead because Chen came into the pits. And we've got a battle for the lead in the Div 3 category, as far as I know now, because Kirsten's close right up now in the wheel tracks of Sellers for the lead. Is he going to be close enough to have a go? It depends on maybe the fuel loads that they are on at this point, James. Because Sellers, it wasn't too long since Sellers came in, whereas with Kirsten, it was a long time since he was in.
When did Sellers last pit?
Well,
he pitted
recently,
he pitted not long ago. So that's why that's why they're close. And then obviously Nick Kirsten's penalty for Jeffrey Ellis. Ben Borman's been off the side of the circuit. So the reason they're close is because Kirsten hasn't pitted. George is in the pits. So yeah, that's the only reason. So when Nick pits, we're going to go back to the Bradley Sellers on the Sunday drive with his favourite grandma sitting in his passenger seat.
Well, Kirsten's only done the one stop, whereas Sellers has pitted twice.
But yeah,
by the way, Sellers is pushing. But there you go.
Yeah, so we suspect that Kirsten's got to go it again, right? You know what I mean? And let's do law of averages. Bradley Sellers ain't going to be able to do two, and Kirsten's going to get away with it in one. We know the Daytona, we know the Ferrari 250. So technically, in hindsight, they both should be coming in round about the same time, which is what they have done. And at the end of the day, you know, the Daytona can hold 108 litres, so it is a little bit less on the fuel tank than the Ferrari. The Ferrari can hold a 133 litres. So Nick might be able to go a little bit longer, but he's still going to end up burning the fuel off here and still going to need to go into the pits. I don't think an extra 25 litres of fuel will get you to the end of the race, especially if he's filled it all the way, of course, after his first pit stop here, Tom. So, yeah, big decisions for some of these people, and we'll see how it works out for them.
Well, Angelita's got a job to be doing with Chen in the fight for second place in class now, because Angelita's only just pitted in. It's a question of whether John Mayer is going to be in the pits again before the race is over. A good battle between those three in their respective class.
We need the Bradley Sellers Karstens battle. They have just gone off the side of the circuit together. Sellers got it all wrong first in the first chicane, then Karstens got it all wrong coming out of the exit of the first chicane. Now they're coming up through Schumacher, up through the Schumacher chicane. So can we get that on the bottom right-hand corner? Because these two are having a right little ding-dong where they both just made a mistake in the chicane at the moment in time. So we'll try and see what we can do. I know Paul's probably working his magic in the background currently. So there we go. We'll bring that up for you shortly. Karsten's just got it wrong again. Sellers has been held up by a back marker. There's a lot going up on the front here. We'll get that up for you shortly as these guys continue to fight. George Angelidis and Jerry Chen here having a right little ding-dong on the race circuit as well. So great battles happening at the moment there, Tom.
Yeah, we want to see what happened with the Kirsten Sellers battle, as James rightly mentioned. But this battle for second place in the Div 3 AM class is still raging on as well. So there's plenty of action going on around the circuit, as Gray has posted a new fastest lap within his own class there, 144. It's only him and Monet left in the race. We've got Dahlgren and Suvik in the pits now. Now, is that penalties, or are these genuine pit stops?
Genuine pit stops, I would have thought. Karstens and Sellers, I believe this is the moment where they both got it all wrong into this chicane. And I can tell you now, Karstens has just jumped Sellers. But watch this as they both go into this first chicane. And you can see that Sellers gets it all wrong on the entry and Karsten gets it all wrong on the exit. So Sellers goes over the curve, then they get it all wrong, and then it comes up again, and then Sellers got it a little bit wrong there as well. But these guys are swapping the position once more. Karstens is now in front of Sellers. So Nick Karstens in front of Bradley Sellers here this time around as they're going down around the final corner and down the start-finish line once more here, Tom.
The question is, how quick does Kirsten go from here? Kirsten goes from here, I should say, because he's only half a second in front. He's only pitted the once, and we expect him to be in the pits again before this race is over. But you would think it's just going to be for a quick splash and dash, if that's what he's thinking.
Yeah, but he's not going to be able to open the gap up over a car that has done so quick. That's somebody in the barrier there. Is that Gardner?
No, that's...
Luca Tavanari into the barrier. Gardner's had another moment, but he's entered in the first chicane backwards, so that was quite impressive. Angelidis has returned on the screen again as he's still fighting it out with Jerry Chen. Kirsten has opened up one, give or take 1 point. I'm going to say 1.5 because it keeps going up and down on me quite rapidly. So Sellers and Kirstens are still close together as well. Great little battles that we could end up having, Tom, towards the end of the race between the Div 3 AMs and the Div 3 Pros, if it all works out how we expect it to.
Yeah, we're going to be in for a nail-biting finish to the race, and this is where strategy, as I said before, was going to come in. And you can just see Angelina staying out of the way there of someone. Who's that coming through? That's Kirsten.
Kirsten's,
Yeah.
Kirsten's coming through on him. So
Angelides might use that to his advantage as like some form of draft to find a way through on Jerry Chen. And I can tell you that John Mayer, I think, has done his last stop, and he rejoined 19 seconds clear of this battle.
was that George Pitt though? George Angelides thought about going for a move over Jerry Chen. Is he going to get it done this time? No, he kind of sets him up, looks at it. Is that Sellers we've got behind him? That's the leader of the race. Well, not the leader anymore. Kirsten's, who's in front of these two. And Sellers is going to desperately want to try and get through here. Bradley Sellers clears George Angelides. Is he going to be able to get Chen before they get to the Schumacher chicane? Sellers is not. He's going to try and go out the other side. And these guys obviously will play ball when it comes to the blue flag rule. Here once more within CMS, of course. So still lots of action still to come. George is also going to follow him through. George over Jerry Chen, and that caused by Chen allowing him through, and allowing the back marker through, Tom, and he followed him.
Yeah, well, he knew that Angelides was going to, Chen was going to slow down, and Angelides took advantage of the opportunity, and he just sailed through and into what is now second place in class.
Yeah, George now moves up into second. Mayer, I'm sure, has got to do another stop. He was nowhere near 20 odd seconds. He has pitted, but I don't know. 1 to 3 is the pit stop strategy, so it's whether or not they're erring on the side of 3, or if that's John Mayer's second one and he's only short field to get out in front of the guys, hoping that he gets to the end, or hoping he can have a big enough gap to go in and get another pit stop. I don't see, from my perspective, in looking at John Mayer, is how has he got that far ahead when obviously he wasn't within that picture before. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, he's clearly bridging out the gap as much as he can. So, is he thinking about a third pit stop before this race is done? Because he's not going to have many laps to catch Angelides and Chen, unless he's thinking, if he manages his field from here and in, so Dahlgren picks up a penalty for track limits. There's a chance that Mayer may come out on top in the Div 3 AM class. Kirsten's lead over Sellers in Div 3 Pro is, well, it said 5 seconds now, 7, but Kirsten's in the pits now. So as I thought, James, Kirsten is in for his last stop, and this should be a rather quick one.
Yeah, Kirsten's in for the pits, and he's still there. Oh, ouch. And that is like an invisible thing with that barrier, isn't it? Because he was almost well past it before the action happened for Elko Busanic. And there seems to be a disparity of when that action should take place. I'd like to point out, for a quick splash and dash here, Tom, that what we expected, Kirstens was in the pits for 45 seconds. He gets on his way, he manages to stay in front of Bell, who's only 5.7 back. But yeah, Kirstens was in the pit lane for a long time, and Bradley Sellers is again, as we can see, somebody going grass tracking to Monsuvic round turn 1 on the picture at this moment in time.
Yeah, we've gone with a little bit of a Tokyo drift through turn 1, but he was able to get back onto the racetrack, no problem. The battle still rages on though between Angelides and Chen for second place in Div 3 AM. In Div 1 and 2 Pro, Herlock is running away with it. It looks like he's got this one in his pocket. The battle between Gray and Monet in Div 1, in Division 1, 2 AM. They're only separated by 7 seconds, so that's not quite done and dusted just yet.
Sellers is in the pits, is he not? Sure, yeah, Bradley Sellers is in.
Yeah, he is.
It's a 50-second gap I've got for Kirstens. Oh, he got a penalty. Bradley Sellers got a... I think he's probably got a penalty because that was a very speedy pit there. But he still held on to his lead. I think Bradley Sellers just... Yeah, got a penalty. So there you go. Gardner's got a penalty as well. That's just flashed up in the top part of the timing screen. So keep an eye on that one. But Angelides and Chen still battling out side by side with 11 laps to go now. Angelides gets the position over Jerry Chen and not really leaving each other alone. We do suspect that Meyer's got to go in. Chen's just got it all wrong and has literally just run over the chicane. Gardner's now in the pits, whether I think that's for his penalty he received earlier here. And as you're watching Bradley Sellers on the main screen, still absolutely flying there, Tom.
Yeah, you can just see Gardner coming into the pits to take his penalty, not for the first time in this race. And he's on his way again. And Sellers won't want to be making too many errors like he was doing there. It looks like he cut the chicane again on that lap, just after he took his last penalty. So I don't know how many times he's prepared to take the risk.
Oh, he's got 49 seconds, so he can take the risk a few more times. Let's be real, because it's an 8-second full speed pit lane penalty. If we were in the modern, you would have a limiter, and you would lose an insurmountable amount of time. But you're not. You're in a 64, and the only thing that they did in the 64 was make sure they weren't standing in the blinking pit lane when a car come hurtling down at them. And if they were in the pit lane, well, kind of God help them on that situation, I think, Tom. So it was a very different world of motorsport back then to what we know now.
Yeah. Well, we are with George Angelides second still. Well, it's Cleo Chen now anyway, because Chen came in. Well, no, Chen is still there actually. And we are getting reports of an incident that's happened on circuit. Couldn't quite pick up on who it was that was involved.
Jason Whitehead.
Yeah, it's
unfortunately. Yeah, Whitehead has had a moment. He comes down into the braking zone. The car snaps on him. And then under braking, and then he just goes round. Then he has a bit of a moment rejoining. So he's got to be a little bit careful. He tries to, I believe he's going to be trying to look at getting across the track, is he? Nope, he just gets on his way, does Jason Whitehead. But he has not loved this race circuit in any shape or form this evening. Poor Jason on that one.
Well, what I would say about that was that I think he tried to get into the pit lane but couldn't because of the traffic that was coming through. So he's having to go round again before he even decides to do that. Got 10 laps to go at the end of this one. Angelides is pushing as hard as he can. How far is he ahead of Chen now? He's only a second clear of Chen, so the back of the second place in class is far from over. Sellers' lead is 45 seconds. He can breathe easy from here on in. Day is in the pits for... Yeah, it looks like he's in for fuel, isn't he? Because it looks like he's been in the pits for some time.
Yeah, 47-second pit stop. Dan Herlock is doing a great job in the Div 1-2s. We haven't really picked up on the Div 1-2s at all, or the Div 1-2 AMs, to be blatantly honest, because there's been so much going on in the Div 3s. But Dan Herlock does deserve some love as well. He's out in front by 77.4 seconds. So fair play to Dan. I think that was probably helped by a few incidents with Tavanari, which we did catch of. Busanic, we know, has had an absolute mare. Gardner has been just in the same situation as Busanic. And Day and Wood, well, obviously they're a lap down of their own class for a reason. So, you know, for Dan Herlock, keeping it on the race circuit, doing the job, has given him over a 79-second gap to Tavanari, so fair play. And then Adam Gray in the Div 1, Div 2 AMS, leading the way, has led the race from the beginning. Eric Monet is teetering on 5 seconds back, with DNFs to Ferrara and Dancourt. So yeah, Adam Gray has done a great job leading them, so fair play to him on that one. And as we talk, Eric Monet has got a penalty for track limits.
Yeah, so that pretty much puts the battle between those two to bed now, I'd have thought. The closest battle we have to say now is between Angelides and Chen for second place, isn't it? As Sellers continues to wind his way through the traffic. And it was Chen who was going after Angelides still. I would think that, yeah, it's showing that he's 22 seconds off the lead. He closes in on Angelides, who's only just there right in front of him.
Angelides Chen are 20 seconds behind Mayo, right? I'm reading that correctly.
Yeah, you can just see that Angelides and Chen are nose to tail. So this is a battle worth watching. Yeah,
but obviously with Mayo, who we think has got to go back in the pit lane, could really bring this battle into close proximity unless Mayo's pulled an absolute masterstroke and he manages to stay out even more. Through the Schumacher chicane they go, over the bumps. Mayo pitted 8 laps ago. Well, he should get to the end, didn't he? He should get to the end. There shouldn't be any reason. And George and Jerry pitted 10 laps ago. So, yeah, they should. Well, we've got 8, 10 and 11 on the pit lane laps ago, guys, all right? So, but they should be able to get to the end, I would have thought, before they would need to go in again. Wouldn't they, Tom?
Well, I'm just looking at the pit stop count for all those drivers in the Div 3 AM category, and they've all pitted twice. So if logic was to serve correctly, it should be the order for the remainder of this one, bar any mistakes from any of them.
Yeah. But unless that incident with JT Tammy, Chen and Angelides didn't give Mayer a 22-second lead, he was still behind them. They lost time to him, if anything. I don't know. I'm so confused how he managed to jump him. I don't normally get confused in a race, but how he's ended up being 18 seconds in front. I can't really answer the question, unfortunately, on that one.
Well, I don't know whether Mayer is not having to sort of get out of the way of faster cars, whereas the likes of Angelides and Chen clearly have done. I think they've had their own skirmishes of Chen and Angelides. If you remember earlier on when they scraped the wall round here that they're going through now, that was where they lost time. And I think that's maybe what's contributed to the fact that Mayer has been able to bridge the gap as he has been doing during the remaining parts of this one.
Right, okay. I hope that clears it up for you at home as well. It's about as clear as mud, isn't it? How Mayer ended up there. I don't think I've missed anything. I certainly haven't been asleep for a period of time during this race. So, well confused. Right, we go over into the final 6. I've just been notified gleefully in my ear from the man that, of course, has brought us these wonderful pictures this evening. And we'll give him a shout out, Mr. Paul Glover, of course. We do give him a little bit of jest, but he is providing double shots and doing everything he possibly can here to provide the best action and show you the best angle. So a big shout out to Paul, who has worked frantically in the background at times, of course. Other times he's been asleep snoring in our ear roll. But there we go. Angelides and Chen not leaving each other alone. There's going to be battling all the way down to the end. It looks like the lead of each class looks pretty sewn up here, Tom, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, it was a foregone conclusion, I think, for the Div 1-2 Pro, with Herlock running away with it by well over a minute. Kind of the same with Div Pro, and I think with Div 1-2 Am, it was sewn up, I think, once Monet had to serve his latest penalty. So Gray should be able to pull away from there, unless he gets a penalty of his own, then it'll make it quite a climax to the race in that respective class, given that they are the only 2 left in that category. But this is the battle we want to keep an eye on between Angelides and Chen for second place in the Div 3 Am class as they go through the chicane that they're entering through here, nice and gently here. They haven't been going through there as aggressively as they have done earlier in the race. I think they just want to get to the end of this one now.
Yeah, definitely. I think they're just trying to... Well, I would be happy just trying to finish. Do you know what I mean? If I've gone this long and I've worked so hard on a racetrack that technically shouldn't be this difficult. It's round, left, right, round, left, right, round, left, right, and that's it. So constantly, there's not a lot to it, but Angelides and also Jerry Chen are going to be absolutely shattered, Tom, by the time they get past the end of this race.
Well, they're going to be absolutely tired, most certainly, even though they haven't... Because these cars, they're not easy to drive. They're very nimble, they're very light as well, and you have to be... You can't be greedy with the steering, because the steering can only do so much as you rotate the car through the corners. So you've got to let the car just sort of roll through before you apply any form of steering, before you get back on the power again. Now we are seeing Chen, who's looking to the outside here. Is he alongside? Not quite so, but he's giving it a really good go, isn't he?
Yeah, he is, and he's relying on George not making any mistakes here, because basically, if what George doesn't want to do is get to this far into the race, 61 laps into the race, or 62, or 63, or 4, or 5, and go and absolutely make a complete hash of a chicane, or of a turn, or of something where this hard work that he has done to hold on to this second place goes out the window for him.
Well, he's in the slipstream here as they approach the line. They've got 5 laps to go. Who's that that's just going through the pit lane there? I can't quite tell on the timing tower, but I'm sure that's just to take a penalty nevertheless. We are seeing a replay here. What are we focusing? So it's Adam Gray, who looks like he's had a bit of a moment. Oh, he has. It's more than just a moment. That's a long way off the circuit. That's a huge shunt into the wall. Does he keep hold of the class lead ahead of Monet?
No. Monet has gone through. Monet literally just went through on that picture there. How did he even... They're side by side. Angelides and Chen. Chen's got the lead. We'll have to go back and see how they ended up there. Jerry Chen and George Angelides. Now they've swapped places again. But was there contact to cause that? We know George, the ultimate gentlemanly driver here, did he cause that incident to allow Jerry Chen through? And that's how they've ended up here, Tom.
Well, I don't know why he even allowed him through, because they both overshot the chicane. If they both overshot the chicane and Angelides was in front entering that, I don't know why he's had to give the position up to begin with. So we're going to have a look now. What happened.
Yeah, you can see them side by side. That's Chen in front of Angelides. Coming into the chicane, Chen gets it wrong, Angelides gets it wrong, Angelides goes in front, and then he almost looks like he slows down and allows Jerry Chen to go through. So was that Angelides just saying, I don't want to take the position like that on the race circuit?
Well, I mean, to be honest, Chen lost more time, but you can see Angelides on the inside again into the first corner of the racetrack, and he's back into second place in class. But Chen is not going to give this up by any means. There's enough time for everything to change, and it looks like Kirsten is about to put another lap on them as Bell goes into the pits for, I think, what should be a penalty, although it could be a splash and dash, actually.
Yeah, Bell in. That is going to be for a pit stop, I think. Yeah, he is out on the road, though, mind you, Bell. And he's gone 30 seconds. They have just gone and absolutely hurtled through that corner. Nick Kirsters, George Angelides and Jerry Chen. Chen and Angelides just not leaving each other alone. Bell hangs on to that third over Kirsten. Sellers out the front. Herlock leaving Div 1, Div 2. Meyer leading Div 3 by 22 seconds, mind you. And Eric Monet is now leading for Gray as we go on to the final 3. Satir, it's been one bit of a race after another, and it looks like Jerry Chen and George Angelides have been the main focus of this race, partly because they just haven't left each other alone.
We just see the 83 riding the curves. They're getting away with it, but Angelides is now through into second place. So Gutierrez and Ellis are close together at the moment in their respective class too. So hopefully we'll get a fair look as to where they are. And it looks like, I think we are looking at Gutierrez on the screen on the bottom right-hand side as he's trying to close in. And it doesn't look like he's close enough there to the car in front like we are seeing with Angelides and Chen. But we've only got a few laps remaining in this one. We're on lap 64 out of 66. 2 laps to go at the end of this one. Sellers' lead over Kirsten is just under 40 seconds. I think Sellers can afford to just back it off and just bring the car home because he knows this is more or less done. Tavanari is in the pits for fuel by the looks of it. It should be a very, very quick one for him.
He's outside that already.
Yeah.
Whitehead has unfortunately had another little bit of a moment coming around turn 1, so we won't compound this young man's misery any more than what he already has been through here this evening. We're back with the Angelides Chen. They're coming up to lap Gray. Of course, Gray was leading the Div 1-2 AMS, but has now hit the wall, and by the looks of it, it's got severe damage because he is losing time, hand over fist, over Eric Monet, who sweep through at the end, taking full advantage of, unfortunately, Adam Gray's mistake. Busanic and Tavanari are looking like they're not very far apart here. They're half a second. Tavanari went into the pits and now he's come out. Angelides got that all wrong. But Jerry! Why didn't he go? I don't understand. Angelides got it wrong. Now he goes on the run round turn 1. I don't get why he didn't go in that chicane. You can see Angelides just got that completely and utterly Pete Tong. Come on, Jerry, get your gustos out. As he's now got it. He could have gone through then, Tom, surely.
Yeah, well, that's what I thought as well. I mean, but now he's having to hold back and go for it next time around. Sellers will be starting his final lap in a moment. Yeah, so Tavanari was given a penalty for chat limit, so he'll lose his second place most certainly to Busanic. He's in the...
I can tell you now, he might actually not lose it. Nope, he hasn't lost it. He is out on the racetrack in front of Elko Busanic, and Busanic is still 4 seconds back at this moment in time. I'm wondering where is Jerry's... He's got to go. He's made him another mistake. Pick him off, Jerry. Pick him up, stick him in your pocket, son, and go for it. Come on, you can't sit there out of love and cuddles for George Angelides. He's literally giving you the door open. I don't get this racing. We're on the final lap as well. Why are we not going? Why? Has anybody got an idea? Is there a gentlemanly agreement? He's made another mistake. Is there a gentlemanly agreement between George Angelides and Jerry Chen? Because there is a couple of times, like now, go to the inside on him. You're literally right there, switching back on the inside. He must be doing something.
Well, he's got to try and do something now. This is the last lap, so he's got to try and do something now, does Chen. Otherwise, that's it. We stay with Sellers because he's about to complete his last lap and take a comfortable victory this evening.
Yeah, Bradley Sellers in the Div 3 Pros, absolutely dominating now. Here we go, Jerry. Come on. I'm literally going grayer every time I'm looking at this battle under stress of all the mistakes that Angelides made. And Chen could have picked him off like a baby monkey picking fleas off his mother, and he could have picked him off absolutely ages ago. Sellers is coming round the line. Sellers coming over the line. He's going to win the overall. Job done. Bish, bash, bomb. 43-second win for Bradley Sellers. It looks like Angelides is going to possibly hang on here. How has he hung on? I have no clue. Not a Scooby-Doo of what went on during this, because Jerry should have got him, and he should have got him big style. Is he going to get him now? On the run, they're down 2 wide. Going down into the chicane. Go on, Jerry, son. Stop it. Stop it. Stop! It's off! Stop the Chen! Jerry Chen! Bro! Oh! George Angelidis takes the second place. John Mayer comes over the line in Div 3 AMs there. Dan Herlock's going to be your winner in the Div 1 and 2s. So great job from Dan on that one. And yeah, Jerry Chen, George Angelidis. Wow. And Adam Gray somehow got back in front of Eric Monet.
I wonder if Monet made a mistake on that last lap. Because Gray was some way behind him, wasn't he?
15 seconds.
It's very, very bizarre. But very well done to Bradley Sellers on a well-deserved victory. No one could take that away from him. And yeah, it's catch me as you can time in the coming rounds.
Right,
And,
okay. Well, that was very, yeah, very, very bizarre. I didn't quite understand some of that, but there we go. Let's, how Adam Gray got back in front of you. Did Monet, he got a penalty for pit limits. Oh, he stopped in the pit lane. He stopped in the pit lane. It looked like he's got almost a 20-second stop and go. And he literally stopped in the pit lane, literally on what was practically the final lap. So that is how Adam Gray got back in front of him there as well. Let's bring you up the results of this evening's race here. And I think you can say it's been a very, very interesting one. As we'll bring up the race results to you. Bradley Sellers is your winner here. Well done to Brad. Nick Kirstens in second place, with Mike Bell in third, Wouter de Bruyn in fourth, Magnus Dahlgren fifth, Timon Subic sixth, Johnny Gutierrez seventh, Jeffrey Ellis eighth. Then you got Dan Herlock, the leader of his class there as well. So well done to Dan. Great job from him, and a great finish from Dan on that one. So a stellar job from Dan. Then you got John Mayer in 10th place, and then moving on is JT Tammy in 11th. Then you got the George Angelidis and Jerry Chen second and third. Then Luca Tavanari in 14th, Eric Busanic 15th, Reese Gardner 16th, Oliver Days 17th, Neil Wood 18th, and John Yuan down in 19th. Jason Whitehead, poor little sausage. He had a rough old race. Adam Gray manages to win over Eric Monet, whose penalty, by the looks of it, was his 20-second stop and go, and took the victory, did Adam there in class. Ben Borman behind that in 23rd, and then the DNFs of Robert Molin, Fernando Ferreira, Santiago Dancourt, Scar Pope, Gilles Lalonde, and Eduardo Benica, who really, I don't believe Benica actually got off the line there.
What a race. It was a good race to watch, wasn't it? All the way through in different classes. It would have been nice to have seen a nail-biting finish in the Div 3 Pro category, just like we saw with Angelidis and Jen in Div 3 AM, or Div 1 and 2, or whichever class it was. I'm struggling to remember it now. But no, it was fun to watch. I'd be interested to know how the drivers got on in terms of handling those machines during the course of those couple of hours.
Yeah, of course. And I think at the end of the day, you know, they're probably going to be very, very hot and very, very sweaty. And I can tell you what we can do now as well is have a chat with the Div 3. Actually, let's start off with Adam Gray over Eric Monet, because him and Monet have been non-stop. So I'm going to have a chat with your Div 1-2 winner. There was drama in Div 1 and 2 AMs. Adam went off, thumped the barriers. Monet went through. Adam was losing time. Monet got a penalty that looked like a stop and hold for 20 seconds. Adam went back through and took the victory. But let's see how he feels as he's joined us up in the booth now as well. Adam, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Not too bad. Knackered. from that race.
Yeah, it looked like it, but that's roughly what I said is what happened, right? You went into the wall.
Yeah, my screens flickered, and it took a little bit to come back on.
Yeah.
Next thing I know, I was in the wall, spinning round.
Right, it did look quite dramatic, mate. We did watch it. If you want to see it, look on the broadcast. We did watch it for you.
I will do.
But then it looked like Eric had a penalty.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Eric, because obviously he overtook me. And like you said, I was losing time because of that crash. And then next thing I know, I hear through crew chief that he's in the pits.
Yeah, I think it was he was in there. It looked like he got a penalty, and then that was his penalty. It looked like a stop and go. So I don't know if that's from repeatedly going off the side of the circuit, and it's just the next step up from a drive-through. I'm not, I don't know how the in-game situation works within our factor as well. But you and him are only 5 points apart here. This is going to be a very tight run for you two guys in that Div 1-2 situation.
Oh yeah, totally. Like I said on the last broadcast, he's my main rival. I think I was only 3 points behind on the last race. So it is getting close.
Yeah, it is. And do you think you're going to come out on top?
I don't know, because Eric's a good driver. He's a very good driver, quick as well. So we'll see what happens over the next how many races is remaining.
Oh, all right, Adam. Well, listen, you've got Goodwood, Nürburgring, Monza, Bridgehampton, Province Alps, and Paris. So 6. 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, quick math. 6.
Cool. See what happens. Hopefully, we'll take the championship, but you never know what happens. It's racing.
Yeah, of course. Well, Adam, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Yeah. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
I just want to shout out to the CMS guys for a fantastic racetrack. If you know what I mean, we had a few problems, but it was a really good racetrack. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, there was mentioned all week, wasn't there, that there's been a few issues of the race circuit, but it looks like it managed to hold up for a lot of the racers there as well. So, Adam, fair play. Thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. And cheers, well done on your Div 1 and 2 win.
Cheers, thank you.
Right, and next up we will have a chat with John Mayer. John, of course, fighting it out in the Div 3 Championship. By his own admissions, I think from John's own admissions, with 6 races to go, I don't think he will even tell me that he's in the championship. But he did have a great run. He did have a great win here. And I'm going to find out how somehow he ended up 20 seconds in front. But let's have a chat with him now. John, welcome into the booth, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing great, guys. Thanks.
Dude, an amazing run, an amazing victory. But how did you end up so far in front? Because 1 minute you're in with them, you're battling away with them, and next thing you know, you were 22 seconds out in front.
I'm not sure. I didn't take tires. I don't know if they did. If they did, they would have chewed up a lot of time.
What, 22 seconds of time to put? Oh, I don't know. I suppose in a way, even.
I think it's even longer than that, actually.
Is it really?
Yeah, tires are close to 40 seconds or something like that.
Oh, blimey.
But I'm not sure. So I have to look and see what the stats show afterwards.
Well, that could possibly explain a lot if you didn't take tyres and they did out there, and then you just absolutely ran away with it. It was very hairy racing with you and Jerry and George at one point.
Yeah, I felt I had the pace to go by both of them, but because they're in the points lead and I'm so far back, I didn't want to mess them up, right? So I thought I'll just hang behind and hang on, and if somebody screws up, I'll go by. And it turned up in the pits that went by. So
yeah, do you think you would have gone more of a Hail Mary? Oh well, I'm going for it regardless of where I am in the championship, because every point counts, right?
Oh yeah, for team points. So Jerry and I are battling for team points as well, right? So I wanted to survive. That's the biggest thing, right? I've been screwing up here regularly, and to no fault but my own, and so I wanted to finish the race and get some points.
Yeah, of course, and you did that by taking the victory.
Well, yeah, there you go. I got lucky today.
Well, I wouldn't say you got lucky, dude. You just had an absolutely outstanding run, and well done for pulling off such a masterstroke there as well, buddy. John, thanks so much for joining us here. Is there anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you go?
Just all the guys in the club. They're all in the league. It's all great fun racing with them, and it's always nice to have the guys out there.
Yeah, absolutely it is as well. Well, John, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy, and congratulations on your win.
You betcha. Thanks. Have a good one.
And you. So we're going to go along now and have a chat with Mr. Dan Herlock, who is joined us in the booth now. Dan had what can only be described as a Sunday drive in the mountain, just with a few chicanes chucked in. He absolutely dominated the Div 1 and Div 2 and giving himself a nice little chunk of points cushion over Elko Busanic this evening here as well. He picked up his grandma. He went in the pits. He picked up his grandma, stuck her in the car and cruised around Bakuza and took the victory. Dan, welcome into the booth, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, good. It's a bit like you said, it was not too difficult. I was fairly comfortable with the car around here. And just didn't make any mistakes, and that's what gave me the gap that I had in the end.
Oh, mate, I do love your modest there, your modesty, and you're like, yeah, kind of like how it was. Dude, you dominated. And it just goes to show, Dan, that consistency, keeping the car on the racetrack, paid dividends to you. You won it by miles, mate.
Yeah, I managed to get, I think I ran wide twice at turn 1, so that was, I think, 2 instant drive-throughs, but other than that, yeah, I didn't make any mistakes that race, which is nice, because the 64 cars are quite difficult to drive, and, you know, after finishing the last round on 3 wheels, it's quite a nice feeling to have all 4 attached this time.
It's definitely helpful, isn't it?
It helps with this time a lot, yeah.
Yeah, and helps with the fact that obviously you could get to go in the right direction. So, you know what I mean? But listen, dude, where do you think? Are you and Elko going to run this championship right down to the end for the next 6 events, do you think?
I imagine so, yeah. Elko's quick. He's had a slightly off day today, but I'm sure he'll be back to challenging me for wins and trading places for first again soon.
Mate, to be fair, I don't think it was just Elko that had an off day. You know, there was quite a few drivers having off days here as well, and poor old Jason Whitehead had probably one of the worst days I've ever seen him have. So, you know, but listen, dude, anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Just everyone in the team making it fun, keeping it entertaining, and also the people running everything behind the scenes, making it all work, putting on the show, etc. Stuff like that. Always good.
Awesome stuff, Dan. Well, listen, congratulations on your Div 1-2 cruise to victories session that you've just had. It was absolutely amazing. Look forward to seeing the battle between you and Elko for the next 6 rounds, mate. Take care. Have a good one.
Cheers, guys.
Well, there you go, Tom. We've not heard from the Div 3 overall winner here this evening, but we have heard from the other class winners as well. They all seem very, very happy with their performances.
Yeah, they seem very much so, and I think they earned the rest that they deserved. And on to the next meeting in a week or so time.
Yeah, in a week's time, we're into Goodwood here as well, and I will just bring in your overall Div 3 Pro winner, one Mr. Bradley Sellers. It looked close for a moment, and then all of a sudden, Bradley says, see you later. He went on a mission. He literally took the win overall by about 45 seconds, I believe it was, as he crossed the line. He's another one, along with Daniel Herlock, who picked up his favourite grandma, chucked her in the seat next to him and did a cruise to victory, did Bradley. Let's have a chat with him and see if it really was that easy. Bradley, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Thank you very much. I feel fantastic after that. It was a really good race. Incredibly interesting.
Was it as easy as I've just made it out to be?
At the start, no, but I expected the Ferraris to be a lot stronger.
Right. And they weren't up to your expectations?
It's not necessarily that. I think we think they overheated the tyres or wore the tyres out quicker because we know they took tyres in the first off. And we was able to somehow get them to last.
Yeah, tyres seems to be a big thing. Doesn't it? With these, it takes 40 odd seconds apparently to change the tyres, which I suppose when you think about what they had to go through in 64 is probably about right. But, how big a deal was it out there on the race circuit? Was the tyres overheating? We saw a lot of sideways sliding. We saw a lot of, smoke coming out, steaming like a steam engine had been overchucked with coal. We saw it all. How bad were the tyres?
I didn't actually think they were that bad. I was starting to feel them towards the end, so I was driving a bit slower. I wanted to take tyres for last up, but I was told it was probably better not to keep the gap.
Yeah.
But yeah, you could definitely tell they were wearing. But with the gap I had, I just thought I'll just back off a bit and just drive to the end.
Cruise to victory. Like it. Listen, were you in the chat room with Jeffrey Ellis and Mike Bell?
Yes.
Was there much said about them two having their own little moment together?
A few things were said, but it's all in good jest.
Oh, Brad, come on, stir the pot up here. We're here for drama. We're not here to be nice.
we all race together a lot, so we know each other does things, and we all get on. So there's nothing really bad to say about them.
Oh, there I was trying to get an episode of EastEnders, and I've ended up an episode of Cooking World. You know what I mean? There we go. But Brad, it's been a pleasure having a chat with you, mate, as it always is. Is there anyone that you want to shout out before we let you go?
Basically, just the entire Rookie Monsters team. They're fantastic to drive with. Brilliant team. And we all seem to have a lot of fun doing it.
Even when they're taking each other out.
Exactly.
All right, man. Take care, buddy. I look forward to seeing how you get on for the next 6 races, mate.
Take care. Cheers.
Cheers, bud. Oh, well, there you go, Tom. Again, another very happy Bradley Sellers. We did say choice words would be said between Mike and Jeffrey Ellis, which is, expected. But as you said, they're all in the same team. They're just in about. They got on, kiss and made up and was job to good 'em. But it's very, very interesting when you listen that they're all very conserved. They're not overly confident of their ability. They're not brash drivers in your face, even though, to be honest, Dan Herlock and Brad could have come in and been like, yeah, I won by miles. It was so easy. And none of them actually were. They were so down to the earth and planted on the ground that they realized that they were lucky. They realized they've done really well. And then the next race could be completely different.
Yeah. Well, every race is going to be different as it is. And even though they had their moments, it's just, forget about it and move on. I think, as men, we all need to act like that as motor racing drivers. Doesn't matter what kind of racing it is. Even in sim racing, where perhaps there is not a lot of money involved in it, and it's all pretty much fun and games from their point of view, but they got on with it, and all well is good.
Yeah, it is. And I think at the end of the day, we're going to have some great racing coming up. We can bring you up the schedule. Don't forget, next week, we are at Goodwood. Not real life, in sim, but that's where we are for 250 kilometers of Goodwood. The Nürburgring on the 5th of October, Monza the 26th of October, Bridgehampton the 16th of November, Province Alps hill climb. I'm hoping to get this hill climb this time, as I missed the Coppa Karate one. So try and come down for that. Mark all these dates in your calendars, guys. Sit at home with Google and get these dates in your calendar. 30th of November. Then we finish off at Paris. Yes, on the 7th of December. It's a special track. They haven't told you. You're going to go through the legs of the Eiffel Tower. Shh, you heard it here first. But that's going to wrap it up, guys, for this one. I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Tim Cairns. We've had the bugger to me here, old Mr. Paul Glover, the man himself, who has been here supplying us with all these great, amazing shots and the replays throughout that race. So, well, thanks so much for joining us. And as always, you know what's happening. Take care. Have a great week. And you never know. We might see you on the track sometime. Good night.